is up, jerks? I want to thank SK27 Music again for that intro. People ask me that all the time. What is that song? SK27 Music made it. The video, the song, I had no input on it. He asked me for input. I said, you just do what you do. SK27 Music on YouTube. Check him out. Subscribe to him. Thank him. I think we may need an update now, though, because a lot of wild stuff happened in the last 2 weeks from Afro Man to today with Kelsey Fitzsimmons. We're we're deep in it. You saw what happened today. I just wow. I'm just glad for Maureen that she got to testify, speak her truth, and she stood strong. Like I was really impressed by Maureen today, and happy to be a part of it. And I'm kind of speechless because a lot of stress when you are a witness in something that you really aren't a part of. You're just a neighbor, and now this circus is all around, and you have to speak up on the truth. And it may not please everybody, and that happened today. And I was happy for Maureen and also Kelsey Fitzsimmons. And we have a big guest tonight. We have a very big guest returning to the show. He is, you might see him on NBC Boston and other places like that. He's one of the go to law enforcement kind of consultants, or I'm not sure how we describe him, but he's a retired law enforcement. He's somebody that the media often goes to speak about law enforcement issues, let's say. And he is a consultant now, and he's a retired Massachusetts State Police officer. And I love him. He's been on LTL Media quite a bit. He's got like a regular segment on there for a long time now. But he's also been on the show more than a few times, and it's always great to have him on the show. And like I said earlier today, I wouldn't trust too many people to walk the dogs. That's why I never go out. I'm always walking my customer dogs, my own dogs. I think I would trust this guy to actually walk my dogs. I don't think I can say that about a lot of people. Uh, let's bring him up. He's a retired, again, Massachusetts State Police, Todd McGhee. Let's hear it in the chat for him tonight. Put up your ones. We're going to talk about Kelsey Fitzsimmons, and we're also maybe going to talk about the Boston police officer up on manslaughter charges. Put your ones up. Retired Mass State Police Todd McGhee. What's up, Todd?
Good to see you, Mike. How's it going?
Good. It's I'm excited to have you back on the show tonight, especially considering what's been going on because we have a trial that's really going to come down to law enforcement against law enforcement, and it's just been a kind of a wild ride to watch this Kelsey Fitzsimmons thing blow up, and to have you here as someone that we respect in law enforcement to give you're a straight shooter, but you're not a wild man, you're not crazy, you're very measured. That's why I'm happy to have you on the show tonight because I think you're going to give us a good viewpoint for the audience, experienced, qualified. What are you thinking about this Kelsey Fitzsimmons at this point?
Well, let me start off by saying I am a dog lover. I would walk your dog if I had that opportunity. Take your dog out with my little my beagle mix here, Angel.
Oh,
Mike, this is not a typical case. There are times when law enforcement officers, will get jammed up over domestic issues, and it's not uncommon where they'll have to turn in their weapons, and they could even lead to termination in some cases. In this particular case, it's not typical. You have the person who was shot is actually the defendant in this case, and the shooters, potentially could have been the victim. Allegedly, according to these testimonials that we've heard over the last few days. So how this thing plays out is also interesting. That this is before a judge. She waived her right to a jury. So the judge is going to be the fact finder in this case and be able to weigh and measure out all of the testimony from the witnesses from both sides. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out.
now watching this thing, knowing that it's a judge, do you think that was a good move by the defense, or should they have gone to a jury? There's been a lot of chatter about that decision to go to a bench trial on this.
So great question. I'm confident that her attorney, of all the judges that could have taken this case, he's done his homework and weighed the pros and cons, jury versus judge, and here we are. So I'm sure she's following guidance from her counsel, and we'll see how it works out and how it plays in. And also, we have to understand that the charges assessed against her came from a grand jury, right? So again, some charges were levied against her, most were not. So I think that's also a important layer in the analysis of this, whether it was prudent to go before a judge and waive jury.
Point. Yeah, they tried the attempted murder at first, and they couldn't get that through the grand jury on Kelsey Fitzsimmons. That's what interested me right away. I knew there was maybe something interesting here. They overcharged her. They couldn't even get what they wanted from the grand jury, and they still went forward. We heard testimony yesterday from Patrick Noonan, this police officer who shot Kelsey Fitzsimmons in the chest, and it's a question of why he did it. There's two different stories. There's Kelsey's story, and there's his story. There was a neighbor that testified today, and he was questioned about that neighbor yesterday about a statement he made to her allegedly. And Bradel asked him, he said, you called her a whack job, didn't you? That was the question, didn't you? I'm trying to read my own writing, right? And so Bradel asked Noonan the question. He comes back and says, I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't recall. And then he said, it's possible. And if I did, this is why. What do you think about that testimony? Do you think, I mean, to me, it sounds like he called her a whack job. I do believe he called her a whack job from speaking to the woman that testified on it today. Personally, just, deep in my bones, I believe she's not lying. Um, what do you think about that testimony? Does a judge notice that? Does a judge weigh that out? Does a judge even care about that?
I like you, Mike. I believe he made the statement. He made that comment. The other lady there testified to it, and to be honest, lawyers ask questions they already know the answers to, and but now they're in a court of law and they're trying to get testimony on record. So I believe he made the statement. Now, where he's going with it, I don't think it's going to move the needle for or against Kelsey in testimony. And there are some other areas as far as he was trying to split hairs on Noonan's statement on, did he shoot once or was it a random boom boom as testified, and that doesn't hold a lot of weight. And we can talk a little bit about the mechanics of that and how that probably played itself out. I've got a strong opinion on the missed round and the round that actually hit her. But that whole exchange, I don't think that's testimony like that's not going to move the needle.
I mean, does it kind of build because it shows that Noonan would say that about her after he shot her? I mean, I would feel even if it was a justified shooting, I don't think I would call her a whack job, especially feeling some guilt that you had to shoot her. Um, and I also wonder about the motive because, like, I think Breda laid it down pretty well that there is a conflict of interest on Noonan's testimony because if Noonan made a bad shooting, he's close to retirement, the post commission, he could lose his pension, the town could get in trouble. When you're relying solely on that testimony of that cop, where he's got a benefit to have a certain testimony, does that ring through to a judge? Because I think that is the central kind of defense on Bradel, and I think that's what he's going to say tomorrow.
Again, I don't think it's going to hold a lot of weight. You have a scenario in what was testified today. Kelsey told him that her firearms were in the basement, and she admitted on the stand that they were upstairs, and that during this whole exchange, that she's kind of playing through her mind that her role is, as she knows it, is ending, being removed from her house. This temporary loss of her child for a 2-week period is eternity for a mother, and I believe her. I believe those emotions were real, but in the moment, to say I wanted to be alone with my firearm to end my life, and there's another 3 police officers in your home that also have guns. That's just a bad cocktail for disaster that played itself out. I mean, the only thing worse that could have happened is if she lost her life. It's the only thing
Totally.
I see that could have happened.
Or any
More,
of the other cops or anybody in that
yeah,
vicinity
it
of
was
that
just
area.
a bad scenario, and there were some really bad outcomes that happened. So again, we're hearing testimony, but where the weight of the testimony is going to land remains to be seen on how the judge consumes all this information and then again process it for his final decision.
It almost sounds like you're preparing for it could be a guilty.
Um,
Go ahead.
yeah, and again, I don't in this particular case, unlike we've we talked about again Karen Reed in some of the different well, in that case, I'll use the word shenanigans that went on by law enforcement. It was clear to me that it shouldn't even have been a mistrial. She should have been acquitted in trial one. But in this particular case, you have the testimony to go through, and there's not a lot of witnesses, right? Unlike trials we've seen in the past,
It's
there's just
pretty
a
simple.
handful. Yeah, pretty
Couple
straightforward.
days.
Couple of days, not a lot of technical data. We don't see expert witnesses coming in like we've seen in other trials. So the judge has a remarkably less amount of information to process. Based on that, again, it could go either way. Um, he may find another area to charge her, or these charges could be dropped. Based on her state of mind and in what had happened, and transpired. During the course of the encounter with North Andover PD. Being in her home.
Yeah. The big thing too on this is if they just had body cameras.
That's the big deal, Mike. In this day and age, had this been a jury trial, that would have been significant, right? Because you would have had the jurors would have been able to see an independent review, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to have their own perspective as far as where they were at in the home. What was their relationship? What was their proximity to Kelsey? What were they doing at the time of the shooting? What were they doing leading up to? Everyone has their own perspective, and the body camera just gives it raw, right? Here's the information. Here's what transpired. Assuming that the camera was pointed in the right direction and the audio was on and was able to capture, and we could tie in audio with video, which makes it even more profound. But again, this particular case, we don't have that as an option. So again, we have to rely on the witnesses.
Which is hard. This is why it's so difficult on this. And Kelsey testified today. There was a lot of questions whether she should, whether she would. She got up and testified, and a lot of the legal law tubers from Runkle to Law Diaries, I noticed, and some others, a lot of them actually, were all saying that Kelsey. What did Law Diaries say? They said they walked the assistant DA like a dog, like they dog walked her. Like, Kelsey actually destroyed it, the whole thing. What do you think? Did she do well? Did she do well on the stand? Was it helpful for her, do you think, to be on the stand today?
It's always risky, in our legal minds would say it's always risky for the defendant to take the stand. But I thought she did a good job. She was straightforward in her testimony. Again, she admitted to some hard truths, and also testified to her state of mind at the time. And no one has the ability to get into someone else's mind. So we have to believe her at her word. And again, whether it helps her defense or not, I think it was important for her to take the stand personally, and for her to be able to speak truth in her own matters.
Now, I'm just going to post a couple comments, a couple questions. Here's one that I would love you to respond to. From the issuance of the restraining order and seizure of her child to the execution of it and the total unprofessionalism of North Andover Police Department. This department's received a lot of flack kind of because of this incident. This person thinks it was poor from beginning to end. What do you say on that? Do you think North Andover Police Department could do a lot better? And if so, what could they have done better in this situation?
Elizabeth, great question. I think there's a couple of areas. Again, we all have the luxury of Monday morning quarterbacking, all of these different scenarios. But what I would have liked to have seen is a number of things. One, because they were serving a restraining order, they had time. Well, what does time allow you? Time allows you to bring in another female officer, someone that potentially, if there was an issue with the baby and handling the baby, I just, again, this might not go well as far as gender bias, but I just think women are going to handle a child a lot better than men. And Noonan admitted that himself on the stand, that he wasn't that comfortable. He had gloves on. He had to take the gloves off because the gloves are dirty. He didn't want to touch a baby with the neoprene gloves on. Yada yada yada. Also, another option that North Andover PD could have was bring in a clinician, is bring in a mental health professional, in the event that they have prior knowledge of Kelsey Fitzsimmons' state of mind. And you could have maybe had someone with that type of clinical background be able to help manage the scene in the transition. And part of Kelsey's testimony today was asking the officers that were there on scene to bring items of clothing for the baby downstairs. Now, in this situation, North Andover PD did not secure those weapons right away. What stood out to me was a huge red flag. No gun owner is going to store their firearms in the basement. Think with the mindset that the most vulnerable time that any of us as gun owners are vulnerable would be during the nighttime. You're going to have your firearms near you, near your bedroom, where we're most vulnerable in our homes. So that was the first red flag that was missed. Um, you know, when she had stated, I wanted to be alone with my guns. That was a huge missed opportunity that North Andover PD should have prioritized. Let her hold the baby, show us where the firearms are, if they're in a safe, what's the code, and do it by the numbers. That's I think a more prudent way that that one aspect of this serving the warrant should have gone down.
Such a good point. If you just had say you hold the baby and we'll go get your guns, that would have been better.
That
Possible.
in having a female officer there, to support, that whole process. You have to think out of the box in these things, and what are all the scenarios, and what scenarios could be awkward, what are scenarios that could be troublesome, what could go wrong. You've got to play these things out, and it just seemed like there was some missed opportunities.
What about having the boyfriend in the basement? I mean, that seemed to have bothered her and agitated her even more. And why is he even there
I,
at the same
I think
time?
this was part of one of her stronger parts of her testimony, that although this wasn't a domestic violence call, this was certainly domestic issues, and there was some strain in the relationship, unhealthy. She's kind of doing the math and putting together the future of her relationship with her fiance, and things aren't looking good. She doesn't have a good outlook on what she's processing, and again, was there another avenue, another option to be able to take the baby, do what they had to do based on a restraining order, and just do a better job? So again, easy to be a Monday morning quarterback again on this stuff, but these are questions that beg to be answered.
There was a moment today where the DA's office prosecutor brought up the name Karen Reed. And do you think that is there some people out there, like even myself, like we get worried that the name Karen Reed now just like makes these judges like rule against because they're like protecting the judicial system that they're part of. Do you think that could actually harm, especially going in front of this judge, or am I just speaking crazy,
No,
thoughts?
no. I mean, it came up, right? It's not something that you're imagining out of your mind, Mike. So, the trial did come up into testimony today, but I like to think that this judge is going to just weigh all the factors independent of anything that he's seen before. Of course, his experience as a judge is going to be a factor as to where his final decision is going to be made. But I think there's again not a lot of witnesses, but enough testimony where he'll be able to assess a healthy and proper judgment.
I think just by hearing the name Karen Reed, it's not going to turn the judge. I think the judge probably already knows that a lot of people from Karen Reed have been interested in this. I think he's probably been well aware of that the whole time.
Oh, without a doubt, Karen Reed was such the trial was so polarizing. I mean, it got global attention, and we're seeing not the best of public safety. We're seeing not the best of our criminal justice system, and people want to make sure that T's are being crossed and I's are being dotted.
Absolutely. It's funny too, because one of the witness today that we had some interactions, I had some interactions with, she got questioned about me and then the Karen Reed thing. And it's like, it's funny because we were all talking about and thinking about it. It's like, I wonder what the percentage of people felt like they supported Karen Reed in Massachusetts because I would say it's a good number. I wouldn't say it's like 50%, but I would bet like it might be 1 out of 3, like that's a pretty big number considering, how many people are in the state. And even myself, like it's not unusual for people to, especially locals interested in local issues and races, to be, to follow me now. It's like they try to bring that up like that was such a dig against her, but it's like very common. I think if you even ask law enforcement, they would know about Karen Reed, and some of them might say, "Yeah, I think there's something funky." If they could really tell the truth, because we have a lot of ex law enforcement on, and they're aware. They're aware. So what do you think about that when they tried to use that as kind of like a dig against this woman witness, which I thought it was unfair to do that to her.
Yeah, I mean, she was brought to the stand. I believe the defense brought her. She was first a
Yes.
defense witness.
Yep.
So, again, she had some involvement to whatever degree, minor or major. And you've got to field those questions as they come in, from the attorneys. So again, I think some of the conjecture that was admitted into trial is not going to really move the needle in one direction or another. Statements are made and they roll off like water in a duck.
So, like, how when you just have one witness against another witness, isn't that beyond a reasonable doubt? Isn't it? Like, how
Well, it
how do
depends on yeah, it
yeah,
depends on the credibility of the witness.
yeah.
What's their involvement in the case? And that's where the judge is a fact finder, right? Is this testimony, if it has weight, how much weight does it have based on the charge? Because we got
What
to
if
we
it's
got to
both
bring it
the
right
same?
back
Because
to the charge.
they both can have, because I look at Kelsey and I look at Noonan, and both of them could have major conflict of interest. Obviously, if what they're saying is not the truth, one of them's protecting themselves. So
Well,
I mean that's what it comes down to in the end.
yeah, yeah, and they well, the credibility from Noonan is based on testimony because there's not going to be charges assessed against him at the end of this. So Kelsey's got to be able to do her best job in her testimony, in her witness list, to be able to present her argument and make it persuasive enough for the judge to deem her not guilty. So those are the areas that I think were powerful today for her. She testified she didn't point the gun at him, and it's all perspective, right? It's Noonan's got one perspective, Kelsey Fitzsimmons has her perspective, and the judge has got to weigh all this out. So that's I think where the rubber hits the road is who's got the stronger testimony.
We have Nan Laferio in the chat. She said, I love how Todd is unafraid to call balls and strikes, sometimes even against law enforcement when necessary. That's what I like about you too. And I know like you're not playing, you know, what's in the air. You just tell the truth, what you feel, whether it's
Yeah,
you
and I
you're friendly with Nan too, right?
Nan, thank you for your comment. Love you, miss you. Hope to see you again soon. Remember, we got dinner lined up for steaks when you get back in Boston.
Oh,
Um,
she's getting to go out for steaks with you. Holy shit.
yep, yep. We're gonna do some good steak dinners.
I get to
Um,
hang out with Nan. That's awesome.
y- Mike, for your audience, or regardless of the channel I'm on, I've had a very blessed career, 24 years of public safety, and I've seen a lot of things. And you know, not all of it's good, not all of it's healthy, not all of it's pretty, not all of it is rainbows and butterflies. And when you see shortcomings, I think it's important that we talk about every aspect of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I bring, based on those 24 years of experience, a unique perspective, specifically in the areas of use of force. I'm still working with attorneys in trying cases on use of force incidents. So it's just the cloth I'm cut from, and I do call balls and strikes, just based on just trying to bring the best truth and facts to whatever the cases are.
And so with this shooting, it was the force appropriate? Like if what Noonan said is correct, would it have been appropriate?
Again, you have to go by statute, you have to go by policy procedure, you have to go by training. And with that firearm being introduced, and he's observing a firearm in the hand of an individual. And again, this is not to slight Kelsey Fitzsimmons in any way. The law dictates serious bodily injury and or death is imminent by a subject. It doesn't then say, well, what if? It allows the law enforcement officer to deploy deadly force.
And
It
this
was
is what
asked
you
in the court of
yeah.
law. It was asked in the court of law, what about taser? Taser is a lower level of force. Taser is not trained to be deployed as a lethal force option. So you don't essentially don't use a lower level of force against a higher level of force that's been introduced.
There you go. And you instruct this. You teach it. You have a curriculum. You do the whole thing. You train officers on this. You speak on it. You testify. You're like an expert on this stuff.
I was the defensive tactics quarter for the Mass State Police for 10 years of my 24-year career. And even in my post career, my consulting business, I work with attorneys on use of force issues. So I've been deposed. I'm going to be deposed later on this year on different trials and different cases I'm working on. So I'm intimately familiar with the Municipal Police Training Council. In fact, I'm a co-author of that document, that's still in circulation and being trained in police academies today.
Excellent. So you are the one to ask on this stuff. We have some more questions. Here's one from Deirdre, who used to be a military police officer. She says Noonan said he kept his eyes on her, yet she was moving all around, yet stayed frozen. How does she get the drop on him if he's eagle-eyed on her? Or did he walk in, get scared, and reacted wrongly?
Yeah, my interpretation, I watched the trial, and I watched them articulate that exchange. And what I perceive happened was that she finally had an opportunity, and Kelsey testified to this, that there was this narrow window of opportunity for her to access her firearm. In that moment, my takeaway was that Noonan simultaneously made that observation. And at that point, he's now clearing his holster with his firearm. And as he hears the click, he simultaneously squeezes the first round, which misses her and hits the air conditioning. Right. So he didn't come up, if he's coming on online with her with his firearm, he shoots early, clearing his holster with the round missing her and hitting the air conditioner. Second round, he's now on target. Center of mass is how police officers are trained, meaning he hits her in the chest. That's how I think that whole exchange happened, in a nanosecond.
Got a great chat. Good people here tonight. I love to see some of the people. Here's Jimmy from Lynn. He's a great dude. He says, I respect Todd. highly. But a cop cannot just shoot someone that is pointing a firearm at herself. He was supposed to step back and negotiate. What I mean, what on that angle, what Jimmy bringing up, if that's true, let's just because we did the scenario on one side, now we're doing the other scenario. Jimmy's right, right? If we're pretending that's the true, if you know what Kelsey said is correct.
It doesn't change the scenario. There's a firearm, and a police officer is not trained to see to respond if the firearm is going to be, again, as she said, pressed against her head, her temple. He sees a gun, he's going to react. That's that's been ingrained, especially he's a SWAT officer, so he's had much more time, uh you know behind the trigger, so to speak, of not just his service weapon, but also, you know higher level rifles and in other special weapons and tactics. So, again, Jimmy, thank you for the question. I don't know if you know, Mike, but Lynn is where I call home, so it's
Oh,
awesome to
nice.
hear from another Lynn person. So,
Oh, we
but
gotta hook up
Jimmy,
then.
yeah,
We gotta have a dinner then, because I'm not too far away. Yeah,
yeah,
I didn't know
absolutely,
that.
yep.
I didn't know.
I'm a
Are you
North
still
Shore
in?
boy.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know. I thought you were down south with
I
with the
am now, but I
Oh, so
was.
you
I
are
grew up in the
now.
North.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, so you grew up in Lynn. Okay,
Yep.
I get it.
Yep. So,
Yeah, I love
um,
Lynn. You ever go to Monty's?
oh yes, yep. Know it
Love
well.
Monty's. Yeah,
Yep.
good spot. I'm giving all my spots away. Hopefully, no one's stalking me. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, so what you're saying is the use of force, even in that situation, if she was doing this, it would still be considered a good shoot.
Unfortunately, yes. And that's the perception. Also, in his testimony, Noonan talked about tap and rack. That is very descriptive. Kelsey talked about, I tried to take my life with an empty gun, articulating the click, right? So there's no round in the chamber. When he articulated the tap and rack, that is what is instilled in every police officer on how to clear a jam or to cycle around from the magazine into the chamber. And so that was something very descriptive that stood out to me in his testimony.
Wow. You thought it was compelling. Some people were questioning that, and you see it differently. That's why we have you here, Todd. Jimmy says he's at Monty's right now. That's funny, isn't it? Jimmy, get me a pizza, please. I need a pizza today.
Got to get me a large beef, sauce, mayo, and cheese.
Oh, you like the roast beefs there? I didn't even know they
Yes.
had roast beefs over there. Holy shit. We're always like sit down dinner. We yeah, oh my God.
They must.
Holy
They
shit.
must have it.
Well, they probably do if they got pizza. Um, so it Yeah, so here's another question from Jimmy. Jimmy's coming at you. He said he respects you though. He said, Todd, are you at guilty? If so, I say time served, probation. That's a good question. If she is guilty, what kind of sentence would be appropriate, and what do you think the judge might do?
I'm not a guilty, Jimmy. I think Kelsey did a great job today in her testimony, but I don't see any prison time. Again, former police officer, no criminal history to speak of, just a tragic situation. So, I again, I'm not a guilty as we have this conversation.
And what do you think about this judge? How has he handled this little mini trial and all of this pension, especially?
I think he's a good job. I like the fact that he stops testimony and asks questions. There are a couple of times where he needed clarification on who's the person of frame of reference that during testimony. I like that, and it shows that he's really digging into the into the testimony. And this is where, it would have been great to have Nan on, because Nan would be able to speak to some of her experience on how, judges would evaluate this type of testimony without a jury.
We actually were trying to get Nan tonight, but she's coming on tomorrow night. That's the big night. That's the Nan night tomorrow night. the final, wrap up of it, it's appropriate. We're gonna have Attorney Nan Gallagher on tomorrow night, and I like the one-on-ones. I think it's even, we get to have you one-on-one for longer. We get to get more in depth with it, um, and I'm enjoying this from a law enforcement perspective. I also want to talk about this thing in Boston because a lot of law enforcement, especially their family members, their wives, they've been very vocal about this shooting, this manslaughter charge that was brought up against an O'Malley, Nicholas O'Malley, a Boston police officer. Nicholas O'Malley has been charged with voluntary manslaughter after allegedly shooting a man who apparently they say was fleeing, but he had done allegedly a violent carjacking, which makes me wonder what's really going on here. We haven't seen the body cam. We have none of the real evidence. He was charged very quickly, which for some local advocates of police reform said that must mean he really did something bad. And then on the other side, the cops said it's a rush to judgment. For me in the middle, I don't know what to say. I'm just like, I'm waiting for the evidence. Wait till that body cam comes out. What do you think about this? Because it's use of force, uh, and it is a violent carjacking allegedly. What would you say on this one?
So with the body cam footage in what the DA during the press conference alluded to was that the body cam showed the vehicle making several turns to flee. That in and of itself. So let me just kind of give you what policy dictates that law enforcement officers are not allowed to deploy their firearm at a fleeing felon or a fleeing vehicle. That's just that ended back, I think, in like the 80s. That was something that was a new restriction within. I don't want to say law enforcement reform back then, but it was a change as to tactics that law enforcement were able or not able to utilize. The exception is if the vehicle is coming directly at the police officer, then the vehicle is considered a deadly weapon. Apparently, the video, which we're all waiting to see, shows that the officer had time to get out of the way. Now, Officer O'Malley stated that he was in fear of Officer Ho, his partner, being struck by the vehicle. Right. So again, this is why these are alleged allegations. Officer O'Malley is not charged with any, is not been found guilty of any crime. So we again another case that needs to have all of the factors weighed in, all of the testimony needs to be brought in, as well as in this case we have body cam to also you know uh, assess some type of an opinion. But again, policy dictates officers are not allowed to shoot at a vehicle fleeing a scene, with the exception if the vehicle is coming directly at the officer.
That's the policy. Going back to Kelsey Fitzsimmons, one of my mods had a question for me earlier to ask you about internal affairs. Are there internal affairs in these small towns like North Andover for a shooting like this? Does it get investigated by anybody who's independent, or is it just something the police chief looks at? How do they look at a shooting like this from, police officer to police officer, or any types of incidents of misconduct in a town like North Andover?
So, not a lot of officers within that department. There's probably one supervisor, lieutenant, that might be the internal affairs that have the internal affairs designation. Now, I don't know the structure of the police department, but again, they're not a Boston, they're not a Worcester, they're not a Springfield, not a Mass State Police. They're a much smaller department. What would then happen is state police would come in. State police would be the investigating body to be the fact finder in that particular scenario. So I don't know the particulars in this particular case, but it's not uncommon that state police would come in do the investigation on behalf of the internal affairs invest.
There you go. It's interesting, because I know Boston probably has a huge internal affairs department, right? I know they
Yes.
only like one guy.
Yeah.
Um, this comment keeps coming up. I wish Kelsey had a jury trial. We talked about this earlier. Do you think it could have been? Do you think it'll be a different result between a jury, what could have been with a jury versus what the judge, or do you think it's probably considering the testimony would be the same result?
The testimony is going to, be what it is. I still would think that Kelsey still would have taken the stand on her behalf. I thought she did well in her testimony. But again, you just never know with a jury. You've got, you know, 12 decision makers at the end of the trial, and what's before them. What is the number of charges that they're assessing. They could feel for her as a mother, and going through some of the mental health challenges that she went through. A lot of those things are emotional, and probably could change a person's, or influence the way someone would come back with a decision such as guilty or not guilty. Mike, let me just put you on hold so I can get this sunlight out of my eyes.
You want me to remove you from the state? Yeah, there you go. You know how to do it. He's a StreamYard pro. I love it.
Angel.
I'll remove you for a second. We got a lot going on today. So, brother counsel believes it's going to be a not guilty, huh? Is that what you're telling me in the chat? I love it. Let's bring Todd back up. Todd, how's
That's
everything
better.
going? Were you talking to one of your dogs too over there?
Yeah.
I love it. Were they acting up? They always act up when we're on these shows. I don't know why. Like
It's perfect
Charlie wanted to
timing.
come
They
down.
know. They
They know.
absolutely know when we're on.
They got you hostage. That's what it is. It's like I call them bandits. Like my dog shakes me down for treats. He's so bad. Uh, yeah, that's a good point that you made. No criminal history. She's probably going to be fine, even if the worst happens tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree, many may say that, she's already gone through, some
All
horrors
that.
in her life,
Yeah.
and that, might that's enough of a penalty, right? Of what she's going through. She's um, broken relationship with her fiance. Now in the legal system with the restraining order. Um, the change in her employment status, having to go through a public trial. That's all heavy stuff.
I got another talk show host over here from YouTube on Twisted Tragedy. She says, Mike asks Todd what he thinks about the officers in Brookline who shot 31 rounds at Justin Root while he was on the ground. And something I never really covered. I kind of wish I did, honestly. There was that one seems very problematic. I've met Justin's sister, who I really like. She's a really nice person. And it seems like there are a lot of issues in that case. Do you know on that? Have you spoken on it? I'm wondering if you have any
Untwisted,
viewpoint on it, Todd.
yeah,
About what?
Untwisted. Thank you for the question. I didn't follow that case. That being said, again, 31 rounds, um, you know, seems excessive. There's the circumstances. I haven't followed enough to make have a strong opinion on it. Happy to follow through if you want to reach out to Mike and bring me on your show. I can do some homework. Happy to meet you somewhere on your channel.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's someone that was actually anti Karen Reed, which was funny. Like she was against Karen. It's funny how the world works. Some people might get mad at me because I posted that comment, but I
That's
like
okay.
her.
I
She's
mean,
nice.
we
Yeah, even I gotta say, like out of all the people who were anti Karen Reed, she was probably the nicest one to me. So personally, that's why people, sometimes you just have your people that you like more than others.
That's all right. We all have our opinion, so let's just don't hate each other. Just have
Yeah.
the opinion
Can
and
we
put it
be?
out there.
I like being nice to people, even if I don't agree with them on
Yeah.
everything. Like that's how I can have a republic. I can have Howie Carr on one day on my show and Robbie Roadsteamer the next. And they're both like stars and they're both on the opposite side politically. They're both my friends.
Yep. And that's okay.
It's good. People like it. People like we can have discussions. Um, yeah, I love Jimmy. He's a real street guy. He says Mike Worse, his time served 3 years probation. to monitor her mental health, she moves on to be a very successful in life. I mean, that's what we hope for, right? I hope it's not 3 years though. That's a lot of probation. It's a lot of just hanging on, trying to get through the system. I hope it's only like a year. Would it be something like that? Is that how long they do probation for something like this? What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, so that's again part of that judge's decision. And again, I strongly I don't see jail time at all. I just for the life of me, I just can't see that happening. So if there is a probationary time, connected with mental health, hopefully there will be some good that comes out of it, and she can come out better and turn the corner on all this stuff.
Totally. We have a lot of YouTubers in here tonight watching, so mad respect that they're here checking this out and supporting tonight. And they like Todd. Everybody likes Todd. Just
That's a
Jay
good thing.
Brill is another one. Yeah. Do you ever watch the JFK show? Is that one of the Jay Brill is one of the people on the JFK show. I like that show a lot. I
Yep,
watch it. I'm fans. You know them?
yep. Know those guys as well. JFK's a Lynn boy.
Yes, he is. That's in Kevy Kev.
Kevy Kev.
Yeah,
Yep.
Kevy Kev. This is awesome. I love it. Um, oh, I had a super chat question too. Where was that one? Did I lose it? What did I do with it? God damn. Excuse my language. Nina, can you post you had a super chat. I don't know what happened to it. It disappeared. It was a question. Do you want to post it again, Nina? So I get your question in? You had a question. I don't know what happened to it. It's weird. Um, maybe we'll wait for Nina. It's Nina's question. I know. I don't see it now. It's gone. Anything else you think is worth noting, I guess, tonight on Kelsey Fitzsimmons, especially? Anything from the testimony? Anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, I think what's important for your audience to know, Mike, as they watch the trial, this is when you're dealing with trauma, matters that contribute to PTSD. It's easy again to Monday morning quarterback, but those individuals going through it, whether it's a Noonan, whether it's a Fitzsimmons, their involvement in their exposure to these types of things are traumatic. Now, trauma affects everyone a little bit differently, but it's but it's trauma nonetheless. And so now you take that experience. Now you've got to testify. Right now, it's one thing to have to live through it. It's another thing to have to testify to it. And so when we hear different versions, one might say different versions of the truth. Well, there's a perception that a person has as to what they were involved in. And Kelsey said she never pointed the gun at Officer Noonan. I believe that testimony. That's her perspective. We've got to respect that. We've got to respect her recount on that. But again, I also looking at Officer Noonan's testimony. He was very descriptive, and he entered in certain terminology that would be very for him to make it up. It wouldn't sound right. It wouldn't fit in the circumstances of things. So that's what I'm weighing and listening to. Again, I haven't landed on any type of a guilty, not guilty. I think all that information is still have to assess. The judge is going to have to go back and hopefully we'll be able to get to hear how he processed the testimony from all the witnesses as well.
Find Nita's question. It's funny. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard. It keeps changing all the settings. It turned off on the super chats, but we just got it set back up so we see the notifications on them. Sorry for anybody if I missed your super chats tonight. We had an issue, but it's fixed right now. But we have Nina's question. She says, if she was shot next to the safe at the door, how did she end up on the other side of the room? What do you think about that one? I mean,
That's again that goes back to perception. I thought I was in this side of the room. I had an opportunity. This was a narrow window of time that I could, get to the firearm. You know, Officer Noonan stated that she just dropped to the floor. Kelsey said that the bullet center, like the momentum of receiving that round pushed her back. That was credible to me. Um, you know, she's a frail woman. She's not a big woman, so to receive a 9 millimeter round in the chest, that's going to move you. So, again, that's her testimony was strong.
Gonna come down to who do you believe more, I guess, right? I mean, that's
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 it.
ultimately what the judge is gonna have to decide. Who does he believe more?
And
Testimony of.
maybe two things can be true at the same time. This was just a
Exactly.
bad, unfortunate scenario that played out the way it did.
Yep. Terrible. I mean, nobody's gonna win in this in the end, too, It's kind of um I had some more questions here. What about this one? Did I ask this one already? I thought I asked some questions from Deirdre, but I'm not
No,
sure if I
this
asked
one's
it.
first time.
No, the officer lied about not taking things downstairs for Kelsey. One was given the car seat, and the car seat was in Justin's hand on the camera downstairs. So she's saying they lied. It took a while to get both out. There was some camera footage to kind of compare. I'm surprised Bradle didn't get more into the details of that and show their inconsistencies. Well, what do you think about what she's saying here?
Yeah, the video footage that we saw appeared to be more towards an entrance area. There was very little footage that we could see. There was none that I could see that was inside of the actual dwelling itself. So, those handoff of the baby's items, um, it's difficult to make an assessment without visually seeing it. Again, perception. In Kelsey admitted that she gave several items on purpose to try and get to the firearms. That was part of her testimony today. Um, if that was the case, procedurally speaking, tactically speaking, she never should have been left alone until those guns were seized and secured. She never should have been left alone.
Big thing. She should have never been left alone. Yeah. And maybe even removed from the house, right? I mean, that's what I would be thinking is like, we need to get this woman away from the house, away from the guns. I mean, isn't that kind of really how it should have gone? Like, come take the baby outside.
First order of business: secure the guns. Period. The end. Slow things down. Let's do things methodically. What's the biggest thing that could go wrong here? Guns in the house. Let's
Yep.
let's remove that. Let's remove that layer of threat and not have to worry about anything going awry, at least in that category.
When cops show up to like domestic situations like this, I mean, in this case, obviously they knew she had guns because she's a cop. But I'm just wondering, do they know how many guns are in the house? Do they know? Because it seemed like a large number. No, they don't know. And let's say that she wasn't a cop. Let's just say it was a random call. Do the cops ever know if someone has a gun permit or possibly has
They
guns in the house? How does that
they can
happen?
inquire. They can inquire before and ask if the residents are licensed, but there's no way to know how many firearms are in that home. This is just you don't know.
You
In
don't
it,
know
they
because
have a
it seemed
criminal
like a
past.
large number, but I'm like, they're cops, they're cop and a firefighter. But it's just funny to me too, because a lot of people noticed this too. They had a gun safe in the nursery, and I'm just like, this is cop culture, I guess, because I'm in Massachusetts where most of us don't have legal guns. When I was growing up, I grew up a lot around a lot of hunters actually. So they used to go deer hunting, bear hunting, raccoon hunting, like so I'm kind of used to the rifles, but like today it's kind of different. A lot of those people have moved further north, let's say. And I don't live in such a rural part of Massachusetts anymore. Even that rural part is more suburban than it used to be, where I used to, where a part of my childhood I grew up in. Um, but it seems like guns in mass, we don't have that kind of. Most people don't have 9 guns in their home. Like, is that kind of just the police culture? Do cops usually have that many guns in the home?
I don't have that many. I'm a gun owner. I don't have that many. And again, um, the her husband, a firefighter, he said he has his own set of weapons in the house. So again, um, 9 sounds like a lot to me, but if that's their hobby and that's what they like to do, then so be it.
Yeah, I think it was even more than that. I threw that number out. Someone said it was 12 plus guns. I think it was. It was like it was a high number. It was a number that made me kind of like, and to have them in the nursery, that to me was, even though it was apparently a locked safe or whatever, I don't even know, but it just that seemed weird to me. Um, yeah, I mean, some people are just gun nuts. I mean, even some of the people I grew up with, some of them, there were certain houses that had more guns than others. Like some people would have like just one or two guns. Other people would have like 30. You know what I mean? It's just like
Right.
it's gun culture is interesting. It's funny.
Yeah. It's an individual thing.
Yeah. And what about the gun laws here? Because that we have this guy Toby that I'm friendly with through the Howie Car Radio Network. He's a good guy. He's a gun instructor. He sells guns for a living. So obviously he's got a little bit of a, you know, a, bias because he's making some money on it. But at the same time, he's a big gun rights activist. I do listen to him a little bit on this stuff. He says it's too strict, and they're trying to make it even more strict for gun, to have permits and things like that. But it also seems like it kind of works because we don't have as many school shootings and things like that. What do you think about the gun laws in Mass as a retired Mass State Police and a gun, you're someone that has a gun. What do you think about the gun laws here?
I like our laws. The last time I bought a gun, I was backgrounded. Doesn't matter that I was a prior police officer. Um, I waited for all the vetting. I had to show my license. I think Massachusetts does it right. I disagree with states where you can go to a gun show and buy something over the counter. I don't like that as that loose policy, if you will. It's too dangerous, and there's too many people out there with bad intentions, and that's how these guns are making their way into the streets. Not to mention technology. People are making 3D guns and all this other stuff nowadays. So that's just a whole nother conversation.
3D guns, the ghost guns. Ruthie, one of my big time viewers, she's always here. Nice lady. Ruthie says, Mike, can you ask Todd which witnesses were most credible to him from the other side? I think he's talking about from the DA side, and if there was a lie that we noticed or a story that changed. So she wants to know which witnesses were most credible. I'd say on either side, but she's thinking of the DA side, and if there was a lie that you noticed or a story that changed.
So I didn't watch the trial minute to minute, but I did see Officer Noonan's testimony. I saw the former fiance's testimony. I saw his sister's testimony, and I saw Kelsey's mother's testimony, and I saw Kelsey's testimony today. So I missed a few people in between, like Lieutenant from North Andover,
Houston
North Andover,
or Daly,
Officer Houston, and then the other
Daly.
lieutenant. I missed Daly's testimony. So I don't think anyone outright lied. And again, I'd go back and rewatch some of the testimony. But again, I think a lot of it boils down to perspective. I was involved in the scenario, and here's kind of the lens I was looking through based on the proximity to this individual or that individual. And again, when you're in a traumatic environment, perspectives change, and that's sometimes people come across less credible. But what they're doing is they're recounting a very, very traumatic event, and in testimony doesn't always come out clean and pretty.
We have an audience here that does care about, a lot of them do care about police, but they also care about police corruption and government corruption. Um, and most of them are not cops. There are probably some cops that do watch, but people that are interested in that, especially people who are citizens of the Commonwealth, what would you suggest that they should be doing or helping or looking at or even considering uh, from your experience as a Mass State police officer? And they want the right thing. They want good government. They want good police. Is there anything that you suggest that they should be doing?
Well, I can answer it from this perspective. I admire channels like yours in LTL because you guys bring up these difficult topics to talk about, and they should be talked about. And again, you need to have the right perspective from so-called subject matter experts that can bring a certain perspective, to maybe highlight things that you might not be thinking about, or to bring an area of expertise in to help the viewers understand why things play out the way they are. Also, I'm going to answer it this way. If someone is involved in a scenario, we'll just say they get pulled over and they feel that they were unjustly pulled over. The time to advocate for yourself is not on the side of the road. Complain, go to the police department, speak to a supervisor. And people will say, well, that's not going to go anywhere. And this is my response to that. What if that police officer is rogue and every time they go out, they're offending and they're violating people's civil rights? If every time a civil right is violated and no one speaks to it, it's never going to be brought to light. So you have to have the gumption to be able to come forward, go make the complaint, and then from there, if it falls on deaf ears, then it's time for an attorney, right? But there's other remedies that people can do in the event that they feel that their rights have been violated.
You could start a YouTube show too and talk about it maybe. Especially after you move out of the jurisdiction. That's what I would
Yeah,
always suggest if you can. If you can. Um, but be careful. Don't lie on anyone. Don't get, you don't want to get sued. Trust me. It happened to me this year. But I was right. I won. I didn't libel them.
yeah, nope. You got
Thank
to you got to
God.
you got to stick to your guns. You can't let emotion get out in front of you.
Exactly. Let me ask you this too. The post commission is a new thing in Massachusetts where we're certifying police officers, we're reviewing them. The government suspends them at times. Sometimes they take away licenses even. How do you think the post commission is doing? And are there some things they should be doing better? What do you think about the post commission?
So post commission was not around when I was active. Um, I think it is a change for the better. Um, I think that the hearings that the post commission has viewed, it would be nice if they moved quicker, but sometimes the process is the process. In all of these matters, everyone has an attorney, and so things get kind of get jammed up a little bit as far as timelines go, and they're not really clean, and they don't move expeditiously. But I think the police officers and standards in training is a viable division of our government and a necessary one, based on some of the police misconduct that's happened over the decades.
Totally. I think that's a good point that it probably doesn't move quickly enough because of all the attorneys involved. I mean, we've seen that. It just takes forever, unfortunately. All of it always does. I mean, you kind of have to have that though, because just, people need to have their rights, no matter what.
Mike, there's a question from the blind spot, and again, um, he mentions in the chat that he's never liked cops, and I would only imagine he's probably had some terrible run-ins with law enforcement. But the blind spot, here's what I would share with you, my friend, that um, how police officers respond to other police officers and their corruption. I'm an old school guy, and we would pull someone aside and say, "Hey, check yourself, knock it off. I'm not going to internal affairs because of your bad behavior." And usually that was enough. If it wasn't enough, eventually that cop got jammed up in their misconduct, and you know eventually they either lost their job, lost time off, or went to jail. Um, I can tell you, in the last state police, the CDL scandal, I know all four of those troopers that were indicted by the feds. All four of them I consider my friends.
Really?
And one of them I went to the police academy with. So I've known some of them for over 30 years. But it is what it is. So, wish they didn't go through that, but I also wish they didn't make the decisions that they made. So, it's just things happen, and when they happen, you make your bed, you got to lie in it.
What do you think's gonna have any of some of those guys have made plea deals, haven't they? At least I think
Some have
one
made
of them
plea
did.
deals, but some are also doing federal time.
They are. How much time are they gonna end up doing, those cops? Cedarquist and the rest.
I've seen as much as 8 to 10 years, and usually
Wow.
Fed time you don't get
You don't get
early
out.
release. You do the whole bit.
That those are serious sentences considering, like, because I just watched Monica Cannon get no jail time, and she did fraud, and that's basically what they were doing is fraud. Um, it's kind of, I guess that if you're a cop, it makes it worse, right? Especially on the federal level.
It does make it worse because you've betrayed the public trust.
Yeah. So cops need to consider, when it's not all gravy being a cop. In some respects, you have less rights if you do the crime as a cop. Think about that, people. Um, what about this one? This Ruthie asked another great question. Do you think all the police officers should wear body cams from the entire United States? Should it be mandatory? I believe it should, for the safety of them and the safety of the others in 2026. I do too. I had a friend in high school who was a cop, or is really my brother's friend, like lifelong friend. And we were all out at the local establishment having a few drinks. He wasn't, he was working in uniform, and someone at the bar was acting up. And we saw that person attack our friend in uniform. And we were like potential witnesses, like, because the guy tried to say that the cop attacked him. And we all saw it. We all witnessed it. And thank God in the end it didn't go anywhere. Like, we didn't have to testify and whatnot. But this was way before body cameras. And that's one of the things I always kept in my mind, that if he had had a body camera on, there would have been no question what happened that night. And this is why a lot of times it does protect cops, because cops have to deal with drunk people a lot, people who are out of their minds on stuff. And that was the case that night. It was just someone that was, a bad drunk, decided they were going to start some shit with a cop. Um, and then turn it around and say the cops started it, which was all lies, because we were witnesses to it. I
Yeah,
imagine that happens a lot. Like, cops get a lot of complaints against them that are bullshit from crazy people or drunk people or people on drugs. Wouldn't cops really, shouldn't they want to have body cameras on?
well, there's the fear of the unknown. Initially, if you're in a department that doesn't have the body cameras, there's the fear of the unknown. But it's been proven time and time again that the body cams have actually been a great de-escalation tool. That once that camera goes on, it does modify bad behavior. I in again that's been a
On
very
both sides.
consistent.
Yeah, you think
Yeah.
about that on both sides, because
Yes.
if you're the bad guy or the person who's being pulled over, even if you're not a bad guy, even if you're just being you were speeding, you're an average citizen. You see that body camera and you start to think like, oh shit, I don't want to be in the local news on TV, like being a jerk to this cop, right?
Absolutely, especially if it's something where it's beyond just a civil ticket. It's going to go to court, right? Someone else
Right.
is going to see that bad behavior.
That's a good point on both sides. It calms down the behavior. Especially you like it's one thing if someone puts a camera in your face, like, that doesn't calm things down sometimes. But
Well,
if you
no,
just have it on the chest and it's just a standard procedure, it definitely, I think, obviously, I think it would calm things down.
yeah, the cameras are typically fixed to the police officer's uniform at some
Yes.
point,
Yeah.
but it's a tool, and it's a tool that needs to be used the right way. And I've seen footage where I I got called to support a police officer that was terminated. This is an out of state case, but the body camera revealed the misconduct of the police officer. And I said to the attorney, "I'm not going to be any help to your client based on what the body cam." And she said, "Thank you. I thought I'd ask, and you're seeing what I'm seeing." So unfortunately, she's got to defend someone that was
Some
used
shit.
poor judgment.
Yeah, so the body cameras can that's the thing. I think everyone would want to know what really happens in these situations. It would have been helpful in this case, definitely.
100%.
Hmm. And maybe things would have been different that day. Like you said, maybe it would have calmed things down. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's proven that the body cams have an influence on behavior, and
Yep.
you know, not to speak for Kelsey, she had those emotions based on everything in the moment kind of unraveling in her world. But at the same time, you've got a lot of players that were involved in this. You've got three responding officers. You have Kelsey inside their home. The poor little baby's in the middle of all this stuff. You've got the former fiance coming in with his sister, and there's just a lot of moving parts going on. So
Hopefully, a lot of people move in and out. Didman, 7,000 says if Kelsey receives a not guilty verdict, could that do anything to Officer Noonan legally? Could that bring some repercussions on him?
no, no, I don't see that at all.
And people still ask another question. You do think they should be mandatory body cams?
Yes, they've just proven to be a very useful tool, and also cruiser cams, right? So you also have a perspective from the cruiser, then you have something a little bit more upfront and personal with the body cam, where usually there's more interaction, and you can pick up the audio that's being exchanged between the police officer and the member of the public. So both are good resources.
Awesome. And some of the commenters are the same ones because she's got a mod wrench for a reason. She's really good. She said, "Don't release body cam video till trial." Do you agree with that on this Boston police manslaughter charge? Because some people wanted to see the body cameras now, and I don't expect to see it until the trial. Is that how they should handle body cams, or are there certain instances where they should release it if it's causing riots in the streets?
I'm gonna land on its evidence, and evidence is produced at trial. You can't get around it. It is what it is. It's not it's not for our viewing pleasure. It serves a purpose as evidence.
And this firefighter, that's the boyfriend, baby daddy with Kelsey Fitzsimmons, he is under some disciplinary, review, they call it, because of some videos that came out, some allegations against him filed by Kelsey Fitzsimmons' defense. What do you like? Do you expect that to go anywhere against him? Is he going to lose his job? Are both of these people going to have their careers basically ruined over this, like you said, tragic day, which it really was?
Yeah, again, I shared earlier, don't let your emotions get out in front of you. And it sounds like there was a lot of emotional decisions that were made. There was, just kind of the way it was described as to um, Kelsey had saw people gathering at a house, and she didn't know anything about it, and she was trying to figure all that when her and her fiance Justin were supposed to meet at a park. Just it just seemed like there's a lot of things going on in the background in these individuals' lives. Is it going to hurt his career? It depends, right? It depends on if there's any violations of policy. Did he step in it and hope that things wouldn't surface? Um, you know, we saw how we saw, in other trials, how side secondary issues became major issues, that really weren't being looked at. So again, time will tell.
Loves this body cam subject. Please pass the pepper. One says, how does this body cam issue get resolved? What's the solution to forcing body cams?
Legislation, until the legislature comes back and says that, within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, all police departments are mandated to deploy body cams. They haven't gotten there yet.
Would they have to fund that too, though? Especially for the town police forces, I would think, in the
They,
state,
they
even.
the money is in the storage, Mike,
That's
right? It's
right.
not so
The
much the
cost.
actual purchase of the body camera. These companies, Axion is the 800-pound gorilla in the space, and them and other like uh, um, body camera manufacturers, the money's in the storage and the data storage.
Costs a lot to store all that data. I mean, I know about it. I deal with it through my journalism and video work and things like that. It's like you, even with the phones, it's like you always have to decide what you're gonna dump and what you're gonna keep, where you're gonna store it, where you're gonna send it. And I can't imagine having 24/7 basically video, which is hard. That's the that creates the most storage space. Like, pictures are one thing, but video, that's really what crashes out your system. So 24/7, that's got to be a lot of costs.
And then think about the size of your department, right? How many of those videos at the end of a month is
You
being
imagine what
uploaded into the
Boston would be
system?
paying, like, or the
Exactly.
Mass State Police, because
That's
the Mass
right. You
State
get
Police does have body cameras, right? Do they have
yep.
them on all the police right now? They do.
At least uniform patrol.
Yeah,
Talking
which is what
thousands
you
of
need.
cameras.
Yeah, yeah. It's a cost issue. That's what it comes down to. And then sometimes the unions want to pay off too. That's the funny shit stuff when the
Well, it's a
unions
bargaining
want.
chip.
Yeah,
It's a bargaining chip. That's what
which
it,
I don't
they
blame
end up.
them in a way. Like, come on. Here's a question: Can Kelsey sue Justin if found not guilty? She can sue anybody, but she can also sue Noonan possibly, right? Is that you think? Do
Yeah,
you
anyone
think
can
that would
bring a
be very
lawsuit.
likely? Yeah,
Anyone can bring a lawsuit, but again, she's going to have to. The burden of proof changes in a civil lawsuit, right? So, depending on, what she would bring, maybe, he affected her career, based on that type of a scenario. But, um, it would she would have to have a very strong case to be able to bring against her former fiance.
evidence. Like, I think on the theft, maybe she has theft allegations. If she can prove that, that would be a good thing to sue on. But as far as Noonan, though, I don't think she's really probably likely to have a case against Noonan, even though some people think so. I don't think so. You don't
I
think
don't I
so?
don't see it. The other
Yeah.
thing too, Mike, let's again be mindful. This was not a domestic violence issue. This was a
Right.
restraining order. And at the end of all this, even with the restraining order, Kelsey would have been able to keep her job. She would have had to surrender her weapons. There was probably some time suspension, but as far as termination goes, I don't think that would have happened.
It's a terrible thing. If she had just not reacted. Sometimes that's the best advice for young people. I love that you said that. Like, sometimes, like, don't let the emotions. You don't know what's going to even bother you tomorrow. Like, tomorrow you might be like, that wasn't really that big of a deal. I thought it was when it was happening. I was freaking the fuck out. Excuse my language. I'm swearing a little too much today. But you know what I'm saying. It just when it wasn't really that big of a deal. That's one of the things I'm learning as I get older. I'm finally old, but it's like sometimes we just need to calm down.
That's it. I tell my family, even in good emotion, right? Usually when I'm in good emotion, I spent too much money somewhere I shouldn't have, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just,
it's easy to go high and low. And the highs create the lows sometimes too. So it's
yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah,
what did I do?
yeah. I got too
You know,
excited. I got too optimistic. I got
too
too
optimistic.
I try to stay like right in the middle. Just steady Eddie if I can. And sometimes I go a little bit up. It's like you just go up a little bit, not too much. Uh
That's it.
Terry Martin says, Todd, I grew up in Lynn too. So proud of you.
Thank you, Terry. Love to see
I
that.
Is there something about Lynn? Because I love Lynn. I've always had respect from Lynn. My parents more grew up in the Danvers area, so I have like a lot of North Shore ties. I grew up in the North Shore. I've lived all across the North Shore and had a lot of friends from Lynn and family friends and things like that. And I always had like this kind of like respect for Lynn. It's just like kind of a special place. What do you want to say about Lynn? Because it comes up a lot, like we said on the JFK show. You mentioned that. Uh, I got to think for Lynn. What do you think? What do you want to say about Lynn today for people who are watching across the country that maybe don't know?
My old stomping grounds. Wonderful place. Lived there for most of my life. I was a Navy brat, so my mom and I traveled around with my dad overseas sometimes. But when we landed in Lynn, um, again, just wonderful people, great experiences, best years of my life.
Awesome. Well, we've had a great show. Any final things you want to say? I definitely want you to promote your, your gig, what you do, your website. If anyone wants consulting services about use of force, so why don't you promote yourself and where people can find you too, Todd, tonight?
Yeah, the best place to find me is on LinkedIn, but some of the consulting I work is I work with for-profits, nonprofits, schools, houses of worship, entertainment venues, in helping them, develop their safety and security programs. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I work with attorneys on use of force cases. So again, just I've got the best part-time job with my consulting work, and I get a chance to spend and some good quality time, like with you, Mike, on these podcasts, and really enjoy trying to bring a perspective for your audience to kind of chew on it. Again, you don't have to like everything I say, but I just want to give you a different perspective that might be out there that someone didn't consider. And it's good to be back on the Young Jerks channel, and really appreciate the invitation.
And you were on NBC Boston earlier this week. You're on there quite a bit, aren't you?
Yeah, I was on there last night, talking about the case, and Karen Reed trial was on there about 10 different times, and there's been some other cases in between. So kind of a regular on NBC Boston.
And I think you've also been on Boston 25 because one day I was in the Howie Carr studio and I look up and they always have Boston 25 news on. And I'm just about to talk about a story. I think it was Enrique actually. And there he is. Todd is on Boston 25. I got all excited. I was like, oh, there he is again. He's always on. Who
I
are some
got
of
my
your
start with
favorite?
them.
You got your start
I
with them.
I
Who
got my
who are your
start with
favorite
them.
media people besides, you mentioned Brian from LTL, who's obviously a dude, and you like me, but who else? Like, because there's a lot of different reporters at these channels, and there's Sue O'Connell in it. Who do you like? Who are you friendly with, if any of them?
Yeah, Sue's been great to work with NBC Boston, but Ted Daniels, I know, is another popular name. Ted's a really good investigator, journalist, investigator. Ryan Caff. There's been some people that have left the market that I work very closely with. Um, um, Bob Ward is
Oh
aces.
yeah,
Just
he
a,
does
a,
the
a really solid
missing
guy.
person cases. Bob
Yep.
Ward, yeah, he's really
He's
good.
he's one of the best in the industry. So again, too many to mention. They all treat me good, but really enjoy working with the mainstream media and independent journalists like yourself and Brian.
Awesome. I really appreciate your time tonight, Todd McGee. He's one of a kind. There's nobody like you, Todd. I'm
Thank you,
happy
brother.
to know
Appreciate
you.
you.
And we say one thing about Enrique because some people are going to ask me why I didn't ask you about it. It's you have reasons that you can't speak on that right now, right?
Yeah, I do. Once things get settled in, I know there's four troopers that have been indicted. Charges have been levied against them. Let's come back at the end of the trial, and I'll be able to share a little bit more.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much for being here, Todd McGee, tonight. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I'm glad to know you. I'm glad you're out there. I'm glad you speak the truth out there. You common sense. And give us a perspective that we don't get anywhere else. So I really appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight, Todd McGee.
Thank you, sir. Have a great show with Nan tomorrow night. Nan, if you're still on, I'll be tuning in to check in on you.
Awesome. We can't wait. Thank you so much, Todd.
All right. Take care, Mike. Be safe.
That was the legend. Yeah, she's still here. She's still here. I love it. God bless you, Todd. Yeah, thank you, Todd. Let's hear it for Todd in the chat. Let's hear it for Nan tomorrow night. She's going to be in Todd's spot tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to that. Um, wow, what a freaking day. I could have kept him later, but I'm just like, you know what? We had a great conversation. I'm kind of tired, honestly, and I want to play some more of this video, and I don't want to keep him watching video. I felt like we just asked him the real questions and get right to it. Um, Frank says, lawyer, talked about Money Mike and the Young Jerks. Did he? What did he say today? I'm gonna have to look that up. I like lawyer, he's good. Peter, Peter Tragos. I gotta say, it's pretty cool when the big law tubers they say your name and people get excited. That's what's most exciting about it is that you guys get excited by it. It's fun. So thank you for letting me know. I'll check that out. Yeah, and I've heard that Peter is sexy. That's what all the girls tell me. I think it's that hair. He's got that slick back hair. He's got that youthful look too. He's hip too. He's like I could see. Yeah, he's definitely attractive man. I could say that. He's well spoken too. I like him because he's kind of cool and chill. And he's pretty calm. Like he doesn't get too caught up, but he'll say some shit if he needs to. I like that. He stays out of the drama too. I could probably learn from that. I'm trying. I'm doing better. I want to thank you, Todd, for being here. Everyone loved Todd tonight. Thank you, Todd. I'm seeing a lot of thanks for Todd. That's what I like. I love that you're here in the chat, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the guest tonight. Again, we're gonna have a big guest tomorrow. Nan LaFerio will be here at 5:30 p.m. We'll be covering this in the morning, 9 a.m. The final statements from Bradel. I'm assuming, unless it's Martha Coakley, and this Gabatos. I don't even know how to say his name. Whatever his name is. The guy that may try to make me a big deal today. Maybe he didn't like my nicknames. What was I calling him? The Gooba? I'm calling him the Gooba now. The Gooba. Maybe the Gooba will win some people over tomorrow. He tried to come at us. He tried to make it a big deal. The Gooby. Let's watch the Gooby go nuts on me. The only thing I'm really upset about it is they didn't say young jerks. You said Mike Crawford. A lot of people are like, who? I think if they said the young jerks, we would have got even more of a little buzz on it. The prosecutor. All right. The Goob. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, but he tried to make sport of me today. He did. I'm sure he's a very nice man. And the thing is, I could run into him. We're both in the same district. And if I see him, I would be very nice to him, even though he tried to make sport of me today. All right. So, yes, yeah, I would say he's sexy. Come on. Yeah. It's easier to say a guy's sexy than a girl too. Like I gotta like, but it's easier for me to determine a woman is sexy because that's what funny. We should stop talking about who's sexy. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Oh, is he conservative? Is that that's a dig on him? I didn't know he was conservative. Uh-oh. I can be friendly with conservatives. I'm friendly with Howie. If I see him, who are you talking about, lawyer, or Todd? I have to leave my house to see these people. Am I if I see who lawyer, give him some merch? I would if I saw him. Oh, thank you, brother counsel. I like brother counsel. He's cool. I'm good with brother counsel. Oh man, this is getting funny. What about brother counsel? Is he sexy, ladies? Like, well, brother counsel. I like brother counsel. He's good. Um, yeah, Martin. Yeah, Martin is cool. I like that one. Martin is cool. And brother counsel is easy on the eyes. That's another comment that we had in the chat from the ladies. There it is. Deirdre. Deirdre. Just mentioning brother counsel has got the chat in the tither right now. You ladies are all getting worked up over there. Oh, you like Solomon? Solomon's your speed? Yeah, Solomon is cool too. Yeah. Original Jola says Mike wishes the testimony include an advertisement for one of his many gigs. Why not the dog walking business, Mike? The thing is, I don't want any more dog walks. I've been turning them down, even though I have less of them. I used to have a lot more of them. When Karen Reed first started, I was doing like 10 to 15 dog walks a day, and now I'm down to like 3, 4, 5, maybe. Sometimes only 2. It depends, and I like it that way. And it's mostly because a lot of my dogs got older, passed away, or the owners moved, and I haven't replaced. I haven't replaced because I was like, I need to slow down. I had a lot of in my client base too. I had a lot of older dogs because I had started the business a little over 10 years ago. But I don't want a lot of new clients. I have plenty on my plate. Maybe they would if they would have promoted Grace Curley and Howie Carr. That would have made me happy just to give them some promotion because they've been good to me. I have to say. So that would be the side gig that I would have probably wanted promoted besides the Young Jerks. This chat is funny. All right, hopefully I got all the super chats on up tonight. There was an issue earlier. I want to thank again Todd McGhee for being here. I want to thank Nan LaFerrio for coming on tomorrow night. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to that. What am I doing? I'm doing the wrong thing. Hold on a second. There we go. I want to play, to close it out tonight, we're going to play some testimony again. The two ladies from today.
You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause now and hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
Good morning. You can have a seat and pull yourself right up to that mic.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Good
You were
morning.
correct, Devin.
Good morning.
Please state your name and spell your last name.
Maureen Teresi, Torrisi,
And where do you live?
in North Andover.
Okay, do you live in a condo complex there?
I do.
What do you do for a living?
I am a stay-at-home mom, I guess. I guess I'm retired.
What are you retired from?
The construction industry and home staging.
Honestly, I would love Maureen on the show, but I'm not going to ask her and pressure her. Honestly, I think she wants to be out of the spotlight. If she decides she wants to come on, she knows I will have her on definitely. But I don't want to put any pressure on her. She did everything she needed to do. It's amazing. If she wants to disappear from public view, I'll be with her. Whatever she wants.
Design.
How long have you been retired?
I closed my business, I think, 3 or 4 years. 3 years ago, I had a large staging business.
How long have you lived in your condo complex in North Andover?
Since 2014.
Do you have a dog?
A dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I have 2
And do you walk the dog around the complex from time to time?
every day.
Do you, in the course of walking your dog, have you ever made the acquaintance of one of your neighbors named Mr. Noonan?
I have.
And do you know who that is generally?
I do.
Right, and how do you know him?
Walking the dogs. I knew him as Duke's father,
And
which is Duke is his
dog.
dog.
See why Maureen and I get along so well? We both are just walking the dogs. She sounded like me when she said that. Just walking the dogs. That was awesome. That's why we kick it off like we're one of a we're two of the same. We're just walking. And Noonan too. Noonan walks the dog too.
Dog's name. I've spoken, just in passing. The dogs interact and, just general talking about the dogs and whatever. So I'd spoken to him a few times and his wife.
And that's the thing too. I don't want to speak for Maureen, but from my understanding, she does not dislike Patrick Noonan. She has no like. That was one of the things that I felt confident on her because she has no beef with Patrick, like beyond that he said this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like she doesn't have it out for him. She doesn't have a vendetta. A lot of times when people come to us, they have a vendetta against the person they're sharing info on. And so you have to kind of weigh that out. Like, does that make maybe they're not trust? You know what I mean? She has no vendetta against him. And I kind of misspoke earlier today. She corrected me, let me know. that she has not had any like real run-ins with the police. There was one little thing that, it was minor, but she's had no real like no legal problem. She's a straight shooter, Maureen.
um, about the dogs and just general
Neighbors
stuff.
making small talk.
Absolutely.
Okay. And back in August of 2025, you had engaged him in some conversation about what was going on at the North Andover PD, right?
I did.
And is that what you said to him by way of initiating the conversation?
I did, yes. The beginning of it was just that, I had a razzing relationship with him, just regarding things going on in the world. And so what I started with is, how do you like what's going on, in the world today or whatever? And he's like, I love it. And then I had asked, what's going on with North Andover, the town of North Andover?
What were you referring to when you said that to him?
What was going on at the department, as far as, the shooting, the cop being shot.
And did he?
And he first said, what do you mean? And I said, well, that press conference, the first press conference that was given made no sense. And at that time he said, I'm the shooter.
What, he said, I'm the shooter?
He said, I'm the shooter.
And what did you take that to mean?
I said to him that he was the one that shot the other officer, is what I took that to mean.
Right. And then what happened?
I had asked him if, well, first I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I know when police officers have to discharge their weapons, it affects them, and I can't imagine having to do that with a colleague.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get the end of that.
I said I couldn't imagine having to do that to a colleague.
And what did he say?
And he had said to me that sorry, I'm a little nervous. He had said that there was no choice to it. He had no choice, that he had to, she had the gun pointed at him when he came into the bedroom. And
Did he use any
He said
certain
that-
pejorative about her?
I'm sorry?
Did he use any certain pejorative about her? What did he call her?
What did he call her?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't call her that at that time. He explained very, very briefly what had happened. And he said that when he came into the room, she had the gun pointed at him. And that it clicked. She clicked it. And I said, so there was no bullet there? And he said it clicked, and that he wasn't going to let her get a second shot off, and that he had to shoot her. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And I had asked why they went to her house, the three of them went to the house instead of having her go to the station. And why would they, if they were going to the house to take a baby, why wouldn't they have had some social?
I didn't say much. All I said was that all this testimony that she's giving is exactly what she told me all those months ago. Maureen told me this exact, like everything that she testifies to here is the story that I heard on the phone from her about her interactions with this police officer Noonan.
Services there with them. And he said, well, she's a fucking whack job. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize.
You have to say what was said.
Okay.
And-
And he said that she's an effing, whack job.
So was
I did the same thing a couple times with Todd tonight. I said the F word. Like, oops, oops. That was so cute that she did that. I think the judge liked her when she did that because it showed a level of respect. I think the judge liked her.
That in response to you saying, why didn't you have social services go to the house?
Yeah. And I was like, wow, that word is used,
Objection. Yeah, sustain, next question.
sorry.
That's okay.
So not what was said so much,
Okay.
but did you engage back with him about the, let's say, the propriety of that usage?
I did.
After that, did you end the conversation with him?
That almost doesn't count, Sarah, that mute, because it was like only a second and there was no guest. That's like a quarter mute. Almost not a mute. Come on. Give me the benefit of the doubt. It's not like I was muted with Todd tonight. I did good tonight.
There was a little more conversation, and then it ended, yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. How did you get involved in this case?
How did I get involved in it?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, no, how did they know you heard this?
Objection.
It's weird. Multiple views of me.
After
You know
the
what was good
conversa-
too? Is I love that response when she said, when he asked her, how did you get involved? And she's like, I didn't get involved. So basically, that's the truth of it. Like she's not, you don't see her outside with pom poms. As much as they want to say she was involved, she was not that heavily involved in the whole Karen Reed thing and everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just like an average citizen that there's thousands and thousands of people just like her, out there. It's just weird how they try to stereotype you like, oh, I'm gonna let this play off because it's kind of freaking me out with two mics on the screen, and I do have to hit the bathroom. I'm just gonna continue to play this. I'll be back later too. So you're gonna have me on the. I'm already on the screen twice, so you only need me once. I'm gonna remove one of myself, and that person's gonna go hit the bathroom, and then that person will be back and maybe take over for the mic that's on the screen. How's that sound? Yeah, two mics on the screen is too much. We only need one mic at a time. So I'll be right back, but I'm gonna play the video and shut up so you can hear Maureen.
That we had, I was shocked by it. I didn't even know Pat's first name
But
his
how
last.
did you contact someone?
I did, and a little bit after we had the conversation, probably a week afterwards, I did contact somebody.
Who?
Mike Crawford, that I knew was in contact with the defense and, because I think there was a hearing, I'm not sure, but I know that Mike was in contact with them, and I contacted Mike
And so when was this? When was this conversation?
with Mike.
No, with, this conversation with Pat.
It was August 20th.
August 20th.
Yeah.
You were interested in this case from the beginning, right?
I'm sorry?
You were interested in this case from the beginning, weren't you?
No, I mean, I was interested in what was going on in my town, yes.
You're Maureen Sullivan's person, correct?
I am.
And you post, and you make comments to newspaper articles, don't you?
About this?
Yeah.
I could have, yeah,
Okay, can
sure.
I put you on?
Yes, you've shown it to defense.
Yeah, they have a copy. Well, that's you, right? You reposted something on July 10th, correct?
When was this? July 10th, okay, yeah.
And what did you repost?
Meaning what? What do you mean? What did I repost? It's a.
Yeah, it's a
article
simple
from Mike-
question.
I'm sorry, it's an article from, looks like a post from Mike Crawford. I
Right,
reposted that.
you reposted that. but the
Yes.
Post, well, what did you repost?
What's, I can't see it. Like, what's the context of
When
Mike's.
you did it.
I understand that.
What is that?
Hold on, please. I'm not raising my voice,
Understood.
anything more than to just have a timeout, but hold on one second, ma'am. Just wait for, and Mr. Gubitosi has to do the same. We can't have two people speaking over each other. So Mr. Gubitosi, why don't you ask the question again? All right, thank you.
You don't remember what you reposted?
I can't see, no.
Okay,
From
Ms.
July 10th, I can't read. My point being is, I'm sorry, I can't see it, is my problem.
If I may, for the witness, exhibit it up here, maybe if it's bigger.
Any objection?
I don't see the relevance of this, Judge. I object.
All right, well,
And there's no foundation as to why it might affect our state of mind or lives.
all right, let's first things first, let's mark it for ID.
And I can't read it either from the records.
Exhibit E for identification.
Okay. All right, now, I guess my question for Mr. Gubitosi is, why would the, putting it on the screen,
I just want
allow
her
it
to
to
see
be more
it.
legible?
Well, it may be bigger, then I would ask her to go up to the screen to look at it. Maybe it won't.
Is there an objection?
I can't read it, so I don't know what it says, so I don't know if I should
Okay.
object to it.
All right, so let's take it a step at a time. So, you can, put it on the screen, she can take a look and just yes or no whether it allows her to read it. You can get off the stand and approach the screen if you'd like. And I'm sorry, Mr. Ruane, that was exhibit what?
E.
Read the big print.
Up here?
Yeah.
Attorney Ken Bradle of North Andover Police, use of deadly force against his client. North Andover Police Officer Kelsey Fitzsimmons.
Okay. And so it's a statement, oh, I'll let you get back at them.
Just for the record, I could not hear what she just said. I could see
I
something.
can read it
but-
from here, the big,
Okay. I'm
Right,
gonna
it's
ask-
just my
I'm gonna
eyesight's
go to
horrible.
Ann, I'll ask her to read
Sure.
it, but she can read it.
yeah, I just can't read the context. Says Attorney Tim Bradle on North Andover Police use of deadly force against his client. North Andover Police Officer Kelsey
Okay, so
Fitzsimmons.
you reposted
Simmons.
the statement that Attorney Bradle made about the case, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Deal, dude. So what? She's a North Andover resident caring about what's going on in her town.
Now, you said you comment about news articles also, correct?
I have no idea. What,
Okay, may I
What do you-
put you again, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm going to show you and just ask if you can look and see if you recognize that. What's that date?
August 14th.
Okay, and do you see something that you wrote?
Just yes or no?
Just,
Yeah.
yes, that's my name, and yes, this is a post, well, it's a comment.
It's a comment that
To a
you
post.
made to an article, correct?
Well,
Hold on one second. Let's mark it for ID, please. And, Mr. Bradley, you've seen this?
I have that.
Okay.
Exhibit F, so marked.
Thank you.
So August 14th, you commented, correct?
I did.
Can you read what you said?
Can I read it?
Can you read out loud what you said?
Oh, sure. Joseph LaHood, I'm commenting too.
Sure.
Yeah. Got proof or evidence of this narrative? This incident was a setup from the get-go. Their narrative will not pass the smell test. I hope all involved are ready for their tireless scrutiny that independent media will bring to light through extensive research. Ask Norfolk County, Mass State Police, and Canton Police are doing these days. We have just begun.
So we have just begun. So you feel like you have a stake in this game?
Not at all.
You feel that you're akinning this to the Karen Reed trial, right?
Yes.
That there's a cover-up.
Well, that, not that there's a cover-up.
Well, those were your words, weren't they?
I don't know if I, is that what it says in there? I forget what that says in there.
A setup from the get-go, correct?
Correct.
And tireless scrutiny that independent media will bring to light through extensive research. And then you
Correct.
mentioned Norfolk, Mass State Police,
Yep.
and the Canton Police.
I did.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay. So a couple.
Well, yeah, it's, the judicial system seems to be going awry, and there's more eyes on things now.
Okay, I'm going to show you something else. I'm sorry. I'm gonna copy of this.
Let's have that marked when, on your way up. Thanks.
Mark this identification, please.
Exhibit G, Lamar.
It's Maureen. You know how nervous she must be right now? She lives next to this dude and they walk their dogs together. She didn't make this up. No matter what they want to say.
Can you first look at it and see if you recognize it?
Sure.
So look at the first page. Do you recognize what that is?
I do.
Okay. Can you flip to the second page and see if you made a comment to that?
Yep.
Karen Reed entered the Kelsey trial. I know, right, JFK? Through me, and got kind of weird.
Sure
This is
did.
weird.
Can you read the first page out loud, please?
The first, the post itself,
Yes.
today, it's from the North Andover Police Department. Today is National Police Women's Day. Please join us in recognizing Sergeant Katie, what's her last name? Do you
If
want
you
to
can't
spell
read
it?
the last name, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Sergeant Julie Nigro and School Resource Officer Stephanie Rizzo. They have over 43 years of combined experience, and it shows, as all three demonstrate strong leadership inside and outside our department walls. We appreciate their immense dedication to helping both residents and visitors in the North Andover community every day. Thank you for your service.
And you commented on that, correct?
I sure did.
What did you say?
Wow, let's hope they stay safe from their colleagues.
I sure did. So what? So what? She's a North Andover resident that has had experience with the town. So what? I'm sorry I'm screaming. Who is this on the stand? This is Maureen. She's the neighbor of Patrick Noonan, who has watched this show and reached out to me. And I sent her Tim Bradle's info. And I found her very credible. Out of all the people who call me, email me, text me with leads and info, I found her most credible. And I knew where she stood on all this stuff. And I still found her very credible.
Thank you.
And she doesn't want to be in the spotlight. She does not like. I think after this is done, we'll never see her again. I don't even think she'll come on my show.
Read your rod. All right, you may step down.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, she did great. Let's hear it from Maureen. Put up the ones in the chat for Maureen. Yes, Maureen, you did it. Oh, it's all over for you. I love it. I'm so happy for you. Oh my God. Oh, God damn. Oh, man. Put up your one. I'm crying right now. Oh my God. I was so worried there. have to admit I was a little freaked out today. I was a little bit freaked out. I was a little when they said my name. I'm like, is this gonna screw it up for Maureen? But Maureen handled it so well. She was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's what I posted. So what?" The only advice I would have given Tim Bradle maybe on this would have been to come back to her and say, "Hey, you don't have hatred for Noonan. You don't dislike him, right? Because she has no vendetta against this guy. Like as far as she was concerned, he's a nice guy that they walk dogs. You know, they both walk dogs." Wow, I'm happy it's over for her. I'm happy she's no longer sequestered. Now we can, hopefully we can. Maybe we'll even chat tomorrow. God damn, I'm glad that's over for her. Um, why can't I find the live? Here it is. I want to. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna replay a Kelsey because I felt like the most important pet testimony was these two ladies that's told their truth today. And Kelsey's was much longer than Maureen's, but we're gonna replay it because this was what we were all waiting for. And no matter what happens tomorrow, Kelsey spoke her truth. She didn't back down. She should keep her head up. And she has a lot of support no matter what happens tomorrow. No matter what happens. Wow. How we doing in the chat? I did have a long mute, didn't I? That was a long mute. Sorry about that. I feel like there is reasonable doubt. I think that's the correct call on this. But again, we're putting it into the judge's hand. Gubatos. Gubatos. I think it's Gubatosi. Guba. Whatever it is. I have no sound right now. You can hear me. That was earlier. That was earlier. I'm sorry. That was a few minutes ago. Yeah, Maureen did a beautiful job. For some reason, my camera's off now too. If let's see if we can turn it back on. Yeah, it comes on. It comes on with the computer camera, which I don't like because then if I touch my computer, it moves. But I guess that's the best we can do right now. I don't know what's up with my main camera. All right. So we don't have too much more. Let's watch Kelsey Fitzsimmons. I'm not going to even say anything. I just want to thank everybody who's been here for the ride. Thank you, What the Duck tonight. Please pass the pepper. Everybody who's supporting me out there, much appreciated. The last couple weeks we've been killing it, and you in the chat, I want to thank you so much. Yeah, I love that she did apologize. She's cute. Yes, I stand with Maureen. Oh, I was freaking the hell out when they said my name. I was freaking out the moment she got on the stand. I was freaking out yesterday when they quoted her, the whack job. You know how long I've wanted to say something about that whack job? Because that's what Michael Proctor called Karen Reed, right? I kept it a secret for Kelsey because I feel like she deserved the best defense she could get. And I found Maureen very credible. I did with everything she said. And I think a lot of us did who viewed this today. All right, I'm gonna go off the screen. I'm gonna say goodnight to everybody. I want to thank Todd McGhee again for being here. I want to thank all my chatters. I want to thank my mod team. My mod team, love you. Let's watch Kelsey Fitzsimmons, and then I'll see you in the morning, 9 a.m. Maybe a little earlier even. Court starts at 9. Don't be late. Don't be late. We'll be streaming it tomorrow morning, and then we'll be live tomorrow night, 5:30 p.m. with attorney Nan Gallagher.
Court is in session, please be seated.
We're back on record on the Kelsey Fitzsimmons matter. All counsel and the
Okay.
defendant are present.
And Ms. Fitzsimmons, could you retake the stand? Thank you. Take your time.
I'm doing meatloaf again, Ruthie. I got a really good meatloaf. I really did it up. A little salsa on top with some. I did this
Thank you.
little salsa with the cheese. It's really good. I can't wait to go eat it. I had a little bit.
And just
before the
again,
show.
pull yourself up to that mic.
Yeah.
Then make yourself comfortable.
May I proceed? Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. So, Ms. Fitzsimmons, the last discussion we were having was that you were arranging to meet Mr. Elaine at the North Andover Common, is that right?
Yes.
And did he call you about it when you were on your way to CPR training?
He called me. I think I was putting Caden in his car seat. I missed it. And when I got on the road, I called him back.
And what was the conversation about meeting up?
It was quick. It was, Kelsey, I'm on my way to North Andover right now. My mom just gave me gas money. I'll meet you at the Common at 2. And I said, okay, I love you, bye. And the phone call had already hung up.
Okay. And after that, you went to work
I went to work
with Caden.
with Caden.
And what was the schedule? What was on the schedule for today, for that day at work?
It was a 1-hour CPR training, so it was gonna go to about 2 p.m.
So it was 1 to 2?
Yes.
Did you get there on time?
I think I got there a couple minutes early.
What was the layout when you got there? Who was there? Where'd you go? What was the general kind of mood of you going there?
So, I knew it was gonna be held in the community room. I was told prior that's where it was gonna be held. So, right when you walk through the officer's entrance of the police department, the community room is the first door on your right. So I just entered right through there.
And you had your baby?
I did.
And it's fair to say this isn't a visit to the police department where you're in full uniform or anything, right?
No, I was in a t-shirt.
And that's because you're going to be training, working on, those rubber dummies that
Mannequin, yeah.
you train for CPR with, right?
Yes.
Okay. Who met you when you got to the police department? Who was there?
Detective Gordon was conducting the training.
I'm sorry, did you say Gordon with a G?
Gordon, yeah, Gordon.
Thank you.
And you saw him?
Yes, he was conducting the CPR training.
Did you see any other friend and colleague officers around that time period?
I saw Lieutenant Domenico as well.
And did you have a chat with him?
We didn't really talk because I was in the middle of the training. It was just we waved to each other
Okay.
when he was walking out of the door.
What happened with Caden while you were doing the training?
I asked Detective Gordon if he wanted to hold him because I figured he hasn't held a baby in a long time. So it's kind of funny seeing guys that haven't held a baby in a long time and they're like, but
Did he hold the baby?
he did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And is he someone that you trust to hold your baby?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you let just anybody hold your baby?
No, Detective Gordon was my drill instructor for my 6-month police academy. So I knew him more because of that. I saw him every day for 6 months.
You trusted him?
Yeah,
And how did the training go?
it went fine, normal. passed.
How did that, how long did it take?
It takes about an hour.
What time did you finish?
I think it was around 2 p.m.
Who else did you see while you were at the station?
Just Lieutenant a minute ago, I had texted, I was supposed to pick up my radio from an administration office upstairs. And I had texted the person that was giving me the radio and said, I'm just gonna grab it tomorrow because I was like more focused on go to the park. So I was like, I can just drive to the station tomorrow and grab my radio.
Were you, quote unquote, on the schedule?
Yes.
Start soon?
Yes.
And what was the schedule when you were going to start?
I was going on to the day shift, which is 8 to 4 p.m., and I was supposed to start on July 4th.
You left the police station at about what time?
Detective Gordon walked me to my car. I probably pulled out around 2:05.
Where'd you go?
I drove down Osgood Street to the Common.
Who's this guy, Hunter Hassam?
That was one of Justin and I's mutual friends that lives in the town of North Andover.
Did you go by his house?
Yes, so the only logical way to get to the Common from the police station is to take Osgood Street, which is what I did, and he lives on that street. So I had to drive by his house when I was on my way to the Common.
Okay. Did you see anything at his house that surprised you?
Yes.
What did you see?
When I drove by, I saw Justin's truck, and at first I thought nothing of it. I thought maybe he got into town before I got out of training and stopped in, like that would be normal. But then I started noticing other cars I recognized there as well. And
Whose cars were those?
I saw my maid of honor's car, Katrina Caruso. I also saw people standing outside near his pool. I know I saw his sister, Courtney, Justin's sister, and I know I saw Michelle Mitchell, which was another one of my bridesmaids. So I was like, what is going on right now?
This meeting was not something that you knew about?
No, I was supposed to be meeting Justin, and Justin was at our mutual friend's house with people, and I just like was so thrown off. I was confused.
Did you actually see Justin as part of those people you saw around his pool?
I drove by quick. I saw a group of people. I recognized the trucks and the people I did definitively see, yes. I know Justin was there.
From the truck?
Yeah, from his truck.
Okay. So in terms of your confusion, are you wondering if he's there or if he got a ride to the Common or something like that? Why didn't you just stop there and say, hey, what are you doing?
Well, because I was just driving by, and then I was like, well, that was weird. So I tried calling Justin, and then that's when it just like communication stopped. No more, he was not answering my texts. He was not answering any more phone calls. I even went as far to text his friend Hunter and say, what is going on right now? And am I allowed to say what Hunter said back to me?
So did he respond to you?
He did, yes.
Did it affect your state of mind about what was going on?
No, it confused me even more because he said, oh, everyone's just meeting up for people who forgot things at the house from the bachelorette party that happened a couple of days prior. He said everyone was meeting there to pick up things that they forgot. And I was like, meeting in North Andover. And I was trying to make sense of it, and I was like...
Did that add to your confusion?
Yeah, because I was like, this person lives...
Sorry. Yaron, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just, so who said this and how? I didn't catch.
So I had texted, when Justin had stopped answering me,
Yeah.
I texted his friend whose house he was at, and I knew he was there because I had to drive by from...
This is Hunter?
This is
Okay,
Hunter,
all right,
yes.
Now I get it.
Okay, yes. So I texted Hunter, and he told me everybody was meeting there to get things that they left at the bachelorette party. And so that's in my mind, that made me even more confused and didn't make sense because everybody lives here, there, why meet in North Andover?
Let me stop you right there. So as a result of that kind of adding to your mindset, sounds like adding to your confusion, right?
Confusion, yes.
Did you stick to the plan to go meet him at the Common, or did you divert somewhere else?
No, I went to the Common.
Okay. And you got there what time?
It was probably like 2:10.
And did you wait there with Caden?
I did.
And approximately how long did you wait, if you can remember?
It was at least an hour. It could have been more.
Did you ever show up?
He never showed up.
What time did you make a decision to get out of there at some point?
Yeah, well, I was receiving other phone calls, which were adding to my confusion.
Not what was said, but from whom?
They were from Michelle.
Okay. And she was the woman who testified here yesterday, right?
Yes.
And she indicated that she was trying to meet up with you, and you were
To get coffee.
and you were trying to focus on
I said,
meeting with Justin.
Trying to meet Justin.
Okay.
Like, I love you, I'll call you later. Trying to meet my fiance at work.
To Michelle, you said that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you go home after that?
Yes.
What time did you go home?
It was at least an hour after 2 p.m., so sometime around maybe 3:30, because I know I was waiting a while at the park. Caden's bottle had run out of milk, or formula, I had to go home.
Now, as you sat here for the last couple of days, you've heard a lot of business about where you parked your car. Do you remember that? So you didn't park in your driveway, right?
No.
And you're adjacent to a school at 125 Phillips Brooks Road, right?
My neighbor to my right is
And
school.
I should say for the record, your home is 125 Phillips Brooks
That's my
Road,
home.
single-family house in North Andover, right next to what school?
The Atkinson Elementary School.
Okay. And there's a big parking lot next to your fence line?
Yes.
All right. And when you came back from the Common, you parked in there.
Yes.
Why did you park in there?
Because I didn't know what was going on. I knew something was going on. I first have my fiance just not showing up to meet me and not talking to me anymore. And then somebody that doesn't know I saw them trying to call me, and they're trying to meet up with me. I'm trying to meet up with Justin. And a bunch of other people were there that didn't make sense. And I thought they were going to come to my house or something. So I didn't want anyone to know I was home. So I just parked at the school.
Okay. Did this have anything to do with the North Andover Police Department?
Had nothing to do with the North Andover Police Department.
So you parked at the school, and as a young new mom, you probably had a lot of stuff you had to carry.
I had his diaper bag, I had him in his little carrier, and I think I had my phone in my hand and my house keys.
And you walked around and you went to your door?
Yeah, it was genuinely a 60-second walk
Okay.
to my car to my house.
Sure.
From my car to my house.
And you went into that porch door that we've seen on the video here.
Yep, my
now, right?
front door, it leads to a porch.
And then you get up on the porch and you make a left into another door into the house, right?
Yep.
Okay. What happened when you first got home? What did you do?
I made Caden a bottle. I called my mom. I asked my mom if she would come over because I was, what do I do? Like, what's going on?
So you wanted some support from mom?
Yeah, so like advice. My mom's my best friend. I knew she'd come over and maybe like have a different.
Figure this out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll withdraw that, Judge. I'm just trying to move on. What was your?
Mr. Brado, I'm sorry. I assume the objection is for leading?
Repeatedly, yes.
Okay. All right, yeah, if you can just stay away from leading, thank you.
What was your state of mind about having mom come over?
I was sad. I was really confused, and I wanted her advice.
How far away does your mother live?
She lives in Methuen, so it was her house is about 7 to 8 minutes away, but I think she was on her way home from work at the time, and she has to drive right by my house, or my old house.
How was Caden at the common and then getting home? How was he behaving in terms of fussiness, or was he okay, or sleeping, or quiet, or what?
I ran out of his bottle while at the common. I thought I'd brought enough. I think if our plans played out, I would have had enough for taking a walk in the common. But because I was waiting for so long, I ran out of his bottle and he started crying. I drove right home.
And then at home, you made another bottle and started to give him the bottle?
Yes, beat him.
Okay. What time did your mother get there? Approximately.
Like maybe 5 to 10 minutes after I got home.
And you did you visit with your mom for a while and consult with her on the situation?
Yeah, we sat on my couch while I fed Caden. She did some my house was messy, so she was just trying to pick up around the house a little bit for me. And we were talking.
Okay. And did she leave at some point?
She did.
When was that?
Probably had her over for about an hour. So maybe 5 o'clock she left.
Okay. Was her car in the driveway?
Hers was, yes.
And obviously she got in the car and left in her car.
Yeah, I told her that I was gonna be packing and probably going camping with my son, which is normal for me. My family owns land. We call it our happy place. I've been going there since I was a baby, so I was gonna go there to clear my mind since Justin wasn't going to meet up with me. I just figured I don't have work till the 4th, so that's what I'm gonna do. And
The idea of sitting around.
Sustained.
I just didn't.
No, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
The objection was sustained.
Oh.
So next question.
Why did you want to go up to the land?
To clear my mind. I've brought Kate in there 2 times before, and for a 4-month-old baby, he crushed it up there. He loved it. So I just thought, I texted Justin, I'm going to my land. He knows what that is. He proposed to me there. He knows I call it my happy place, and I told him I'll send you pictures when I get service, and I love you because there's not good service up there. And that was the last thing I ever said to Justin.
When your mom pulled out of the driveway, did you get a visit from the North Andover police?
I heard someone knocking on my front door when I walked up to the porch.
How long after your mom left did the police knock on your door?
I know now approximately 3 minutes.
And what were you able to do to figure it out pretty well?
My home has a lot of surveillance. My dad owns a security company, so my home had a lot of surveillance outside. So I was just curious, how long was it after my mom left that the police came? And I believe it was about 3 minutes approximately.
Can you use the video system to refresh yourself on time intervals and such?
Yeah, yes.
And while we're on that topic, are there timestamps on the clips from your house?
Yes.
And do you have any knowledge of the accuracy of those timestamps?
At some point, one of the daylight savings happened, so my cameras were 1 hour off.
And how off? Like which way off were they?
If it said it was 5 o'clock, it was actually 4 o'clock.
Okay, so it's an hour ahead.
Okay.
So-
Hour ahead.
All right, so in terms of any clips that come from your house, does the timestamp show hour ahead?
Yes.
Okay.
So are you referring to what's in evidence?
Yes.
Okay, all of those video clips?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So, just want to make sure, did we say that right, that the clips are an hour ahead, or is the actual clip an hour behind?
I have to think about this. I'm sorry.
It's okay, we can come back to it later. I do that all the time, that's okay. How long after your mother left did you hear a knock on the door?
Like 3 to 5 minutes.
Where were you when you heard the knock?
I was sitting on the couch feeding Kaden.
What did you do when you heard the knock?
I put the bottle on the coffee table. I got up with Kaden in my arms and I opened up the door.
You walked out on the porch and
I walked out on the porch. So there's like 2 doors. My front door leads to a porched in area. Walked out onto the porch and opened up the front door for 3 police officers.
And who were they?
It was Lieutenant Daly, Officer Noonan, and Officer Houston.
And Lieutenant, let's just go through each of them real quick for a second.
Okay.
Lieutenant Daly, you talked about in terms of training and hiring and all that, right?
Yes.
And what about Officer Noonan? What was your relationship at the time with Officer Noonan?
He had transferred after I had already started. We were on the same shift for a brief time. On one of our shifts, there was a really horrible call.
So we'll get to that, but just
Okay.
generally in terms of your relationship.
That's just like how our relationship kind of even started. That's why I brought it up. That's how
Okay.
we became like texting each other and kind of more than just like, you're just my coworker and I never talked to you, to we've had conversations and talked about personal things.
Did you think well of him?
Yes,
And to your knowledge, did he think well of you?
I think so.
So now you mentioned a particular call.
Yes.
And just so we don't have to dwell all over it, it's a call that involves a murder, suicide, and the murder victim is a young baby, right?
Yes.
And when was that call?
It was in August of 2024.
Was that response just you and him?
I believe I was the first officer in with Officer Cuevas, and then Officer Noonan came. It was like a pretty much when something like that comes over the radio, everybody starts heading there. But the call was in my sector, so the sector I was assigned to that night. So I was the closest with Officer Cuevas. So we walked in together.
Okay. And just to encapsulate it, the call involved administering first aid, and it was a difficult call.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the source of when you sort of broke the ice with Officer Noonan?
Yeah, we stood outside of the scene for a long time, all of us, everybody who was on that call, and we talked, and then the chief had asked us to, we were like out of commission for the night. Other officers came in and filled in for us, and we had like a meeting debrief in the chief's office. He had pizza delivered.
Okay. And just in general, fast forwarding all the way to June 30th of 25, did you ever have any problems or issues with Officer Noonan?
No,
Did he ever, to your knowledge, did he ever have any problems or issues with you?
no.
So there's Noonan. And then who's the third officer there?
Officer Houston,
And we saw him testify here as well today, yesterday, right?
yes.
And what was your relationship with Officer Noonan?
Noonan or Houston?
I'm sorry, Houston, thank you.
I was closer with Houston, probably out of the 3 of the people that were at my house that day. Houston and I were friends. He came to my engagement party. He was invited to my wedding. We have the same type of dog. We I think they've met before, the dogs, I mean, yeah.
He's a work
He
friend
was a work
outside.
friend, yeah.
So these three come to the door. What are the circumstances of how they come in the house? Did you let them in, or how did that happen?
I opened the door and Lieutenant Daly immediately put his foot on my front porch, and we didn't just come in, and I was like, okay, all right.
I didn't hear that well.
When I opened the door, Lieutenant Daly put his foot into my porch, and they just said, we need to come in, and I said, okay.
And then did you turn around and you and Kaden walked back in the house and they followed you?
Yes.
So what happened when the four of you, five of you, got into the living room area?
They asked me, Lieutenant Daly asked me to put Kaden down in his car seat. They referred to it as like a rocker. It does rock, but it was his car seat. And I was in the middle of feeding him. So when I put him down, he was obviously crying. And I was like, whatever this is, I'm going to hold my son. Because they had a folder. I knew they were going to give me something. Wasn't
At that moment,
yeah.
did you have any idea what was going on?
No, I knew, like, obviously I knew something was going on. The police are in my house, my coworkers, but when they told me to put Kaden down, I was like a little hesitant because I'm in the middle of feeding him, and then I listened, I put him down, and he started crying, and I was like, no, I'm gonna hold my son, whatever this is, like, I'm gonna feed my baby and read it. So I picked Kaden back up, and I had him on my lap while I opened the envelope, and that's when Lieutenant Daly said, Justin filed a restraining order against you.
Okay, so you're trying to read it and he's talking to you and the baby's crying?
Nope, baby
you're
isn't
feeding
crying
him.
anymore. I picked him up and I'm feeding him.
What did Daly say to you about the situation?
I asked a lot of questions, like why? I was supposed to meet him at the park, like a couple hours ago. I'm confused. He said he didn't know anything, and I said, do you have the affidavit so I can read what I'm being accused of? And they didn't, and they said they didn't know the details. And he said that Kaden was on it as well, and
Did that affect your state of mind?
yes.
How so?
I knew in that moment I was going to have to hand my 4-month-old to a police officer to be brought out of my house.
How did that make you feel?
I don't know if there's a word. Sad.
Were you able to have a minute or two to kind of comprehend it, or did something else immediately happen?
I comprehended it. I was asked to pack a bag for Kaden for about 2 weeks.
Who asked you that?
Lieutenant Daly said that the court the court date was in 14 days. So he said, pack enough for 2 weeks. And
He said that to you?
yes,
Okay. So you didn't take it upon yourself to want to do that?
no, they told me that I needed to pack a bag for Kaden because he was gonna go be with Justin for at least the 2 weeks till the next court date.
Who was there when that was, when that came up?
That was when the three of them we were all in my living room.
Did Houston or Noonan say anything at this point?
No. I knew if I put Kaden back in his car seat, he was gonna cry. He loves being held.
So the plan at that point was to go get some stuff?
Yes.
So you had to put Kaden somewhere.
Yes.
And what did you do?
I handed Kaden to Officer Noonan.
Why'd you give him to Officer Noonan?
I could say I trusted all of them. but I knew Officer Noonan I know Officer Houston has no kids, and I knew Daly seemed like preoccupied, and I knew Noonan had kids. So I guess that's probably what went through my mind, but it really wasn't that much of a thought. I just knew I had to have someone hold him because I didn't want him screaming in his car seat on the ground.
Was he someone that you trusted to do that?
Yes.
What happened when you handed your baby to Officer Noonan?
He took Kaden from my arms.
And what about the bottle? What happened with the bottle?
He took the bottle as well.
And what did he do with respect to the bottle and Kaden?
He was trying to feed him.
Did Officer Noonan exhibit any resistance or discomfort or anything with respect to holding the baby?
No, I think he said like, oh, I haven't done this in a while, like something like that.
What was your intention at that point to do?
I had to pack his bags.
And are you, as you're starting to go figure that out in terms of luggage, what do you need, where's he going, etc., are you having kind of an unfolding thought process, if you will?
Meeting? Yeah, sustain.
I'm just asking her what she's thinking, Your Honor. I mean,
Just ask.
what are you thinking?
So it took. I grabbed one of my duffel bags and I first went in the kitchen, and as I was putting the bottles in the bag, it was just kind of like all setting in exactly what was happening, and there was just so many unknowns. And as I was packing things, I was like, okay, Justin just broke up with me via restraining order. We have a wedding in 4 months. Kaden is not going to be with me for 2 weeks. That's an eternity for a mom, any mom. And everyone was just brushing over the fact that it was 2 weeks. And I was like, 2 weeks without Kaden? Like, I just kept, in my mind was just going fast. Like, I can't work overtime because I have a son now. I can't afford my home by myself without overtime. It was just, I lost everything. Even my doggy was on the restraining order. Maverick, my dog Maverick, was on the restraining order. So my son.
Was he your dog or Justin's dog?
He was my dog. So I saw my baby go, my fiance, my dog, my house. And I knew that was going to be my job too. Because whatever I was accused of wasn't good if at restraining order.
And you didn't have the affidavit?
No.
Where did you go after you went to the kitchen with the duffel bag and the bottles?
I went all around the house because his diapers were in one room on shelves. His bottles and formula were in the kitchen. His toys were in the living room. And his books and stuff were upstairs with his clothes.
Tell us what you did on the first floor before you got upstairs. What was the packing there?
On the first floor was bottles and formula, and he was just getting introduced to like purees, and I had just ordered purees from Target, so I packed all those too. Then I went into the, thank you, I went into, it was like our exercise room. It had shelving on the wall, and there was just like a ton of boxes of diapers. I just put those aside and was like, 2 weeks, a lot of diapers, so take the boxes. And then I went upstairs.
All right, before you got upstairs, part of the order was that you had to give up your firearms, right?
Yes.
Did you say anything to the officers about the location of your firearms?
Yes, I did.
What did you say?
I told them that they were in the basement.
Was that true?
No,
Why did you tell them that?
because I didn't want them to take them away.
Why not?
Because I wanted to be alone with my firearm and take my life.
When did you make that decision?
I made that decision as I realized I had just lost everything in a 15-second conversation with my coworker.
Where were your firearms?
They were upstairs in a green safe
In your bedroom?
in my bedroom.
Thank you. So you went upstairs, you mentioned?
Yes.
What was your state of mind at that point, whether or not Justin was coming over or not?
I didn't think Justin was coming over. I knew that Caden was going to Justin, but I would never think Justin was coming over.
Why not?
That's just not like normal practice to put a plaintiff and defendant in the same room intentionally. Usually you're doing the opposite as police officers, so I didn't think Justin was in the house.
And the opposite being what? What's the opposite of what they did here?
They let Justin in my house.
So what's the normal procedure?
Normal procedure is to separate people. It's like the first thing you do on any call where there's any sort of argument. You separate.
Now, you've served restraining orders, you mentioned, right?
Yes.
Is there a provision in those orders for accessing property?
I don't know about specific provisions. I can tell you like what I've done before on a call where there was a restraining order involved. I don't know if it's a provision or not though.
Okay, we'll move on from there.
Okay.
So you were going to go upstairs,
Yes.
and you had made that awful decision already?
Yes.
What was your state of mind about whether or not you wanted to involve any police officers in that?
I didn't want to involve anybody. I was trying to get everybody away from me.
Why didn't you want to involve any police officers in that? These police officers in particular?
Because I wanted to be alone so I could kill myself. I decided that I was going to take my own life. I didn't want to involve anybody else in that. I'll just...
Okay. Did you go upstairs back and forth a couple times, or did you just go up there once?
I think I went up I think I went up at least twice. The second time I went up, I was up there for a while.
Do you remember who accompanied you on each of these trips?
It was Officer Houston and Officer Noonan.
Was that the first time or the second time?
That was the second time.
And was there a visit upstairs before that? Houston and Noonan visit?
Yeah, I was trying to hand them things so they would go away.
Where did that happen?
That happened upstairs. So I was first in the room. You walk up, there's a landing. The room on the left is Caden's room. I went in there first and I put books in a car seat because Justin's truck didn't have the car seat. And I handed it, I don't even know who I handed it to one of them. And I said, can you bring this downstairs?
What happened after you said that?
Somebody brought it downstairs and then they came back up.
So you struck out in terms of what you testified to earlier?
Yeah, I just kept trying to hand them things to make them go away.
Meaning, what do you mean make them go away? Be more specific if you can.
Like,
What was the plan?
I knew if I pulled out my firearm in front of a police officer, I would get shot. That was not my intention, and that's not what I did. I was trying to get them away from me, so that didn't happen. So they weren't put in that position, because I'm not dumb. I was a police officer. If someone takes out a gun in front of you, yes, that's a threat. Yes, that's somebody that you probably feel threatened from.
So, but if you want to kill yourself, why not just let it happen that way?
That's selfish. I would never do that. Even looking back now, like reflecting for 9 months, I think my decision to do it to myself was selfish to everybody who loves me. So I'll just leave it at that. I wanted to kill myself. Me and my gun, no one else involved.
How many different times did you try to have the officers transport some stuff downstairs?
Several.
At some point, did Officer Houston leave the second floor?
Yes.
And that left who up there?
Officer Noonan.
So upstairs it was Officer Noonan and yourself.
Yes.
At some point, did you go across that landing to the other room?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I was on the floor packing more clothes in the duffel bag.
In which room?
My bedroom.
Okay, hold
When you
on.
walk up the stairs to the right.
Okay, so you finish up in the other room and you go to your room.
Yes.
All right. Tell us the circumstances of where do you go, where does Noonan go when you go into your bedroom?
So nobody came into my bedroom with me. I was asked, I can't even say who exactly, like I don't know if Officer Houston had come back up at the time, but somebody asked me, who is that downstairs? And I said, I have no idea. And
Let me ask you a little bit about that. What was your state of mind about you being asked that? What were you thinking about?
I was like, I don't know.
Did you hear anybody come in?
No, but they did. Because they were on the landing, they would be able to. I was like more into my bedroom than them. So I was like, I have no idea who's here. Shouldn't you guys know?
Okay. What happened next?
Officer Houston walked down the stairs first. Officer Noonan followed him down several steps.
Did that give you a chance to do anything?
That was, I knew, my only chance to be alone with my firearm.
I'll show you Exhibit 51. What's shown in Exhibit 51?
That's my bedroom. That's the room on the top of the landing to the right.
Where's the photographer standing in this picture?
He's standing in the doorway.
When you went to go get that firearm, was there anyone in your view in that landing?
No.
Was this after you saw Noonan depart?
Yes. His back was turned towards me. He was following Officer Houston down the stairs.
Did he stay that way, or did he disappear from that scene?
Well, he must have turned around at some point and walked back up the stairs because...
You know how when you're near somebody that's going up and down stairs, you can hear going up and downstairs. Did you hear any particular number of
No,
steps?
I'm certain I heard him and saw him walk down several steps.
Okay. And how did that affect your state of mind at that very instant?
I knew that was my moment.
To do what?
Kill myself.
What did you do?
So that shoebox was not on top of the green safe.
At the time you were doing this?
At the time, yeah, there was nothing on top of the safe.
All right. And you're referring, for the record, there's a orange lined box in the picture?
Yeah, it looks like,
Is that what you're talking about?
it looks like a shoebox, yeah, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Barrett, can you just give me a moment to catch up?
Sure, absolutely.
I'm sorry, did you say that that box was not on the, what did you say about that box?
That box was not there. The top of that chest, I'm calling it a safe, it's a chest that locks, that's where I kept my firearms. The top of it, nothing was on it. So whatever was placed there after, that was not there before.
Thank you.
Ready to go, John?
Yes.
What about the chair? Is that how the chair was?
The chair was turned the other way, because that was the chair I would rock Aiden in. That was not facing that way. The back of the chair was up against the wall, I guess.
So it's kind of like as you'd expect it to be in the room facing.
Yeah, I would need to pivot like this to be right. So it was probably moved. My room is small.
Okay. And to get at your guns in there, you kind of have to flip up the top of that chest.
Yes.
Were you, where was your focus in terms of the firearm, the chest, whether Noonan's coming back? Where are you focused?
I was just like, hurry up before somebody comes back.
And what did you do?
I grabbed the gun out of the chest. I put it up to my chest here.
So what was going on with you putting it up to your chest? What was that all about? What do you mean when you say you put it up to?
Like I just-
You made a motion to your stomach area, right?
Yeah, like I just grabbed it quickly. I bent over, grabbed it, put it here, took 2 steps backwards, and I don't want to make the motion of what I did because
You
it's
can just say what you did.
horrible. But I put the gun up to my head,
Which hand did you use?
my right hand,
And where on your head did you put it? Just, you can just describe it.
my temple.
Okay. Was Noonan in the door frame by now?
Not yet. He had just walked in, like when I pulled the trigger on myself, with the gun pointing towards my head.
What happened when you pulled the trigger?
He said, "Kelsey, no. Kelsey, no." I pulled the trigger. I'm sorry, but I said fuck.
And what happened next?
I got shot.
How long after you said that did you get shot?
I don't even think I got to the K in the word before I was shot.
What did that feel like?
What part?
Getting shot in the chest.
Hurt?
Did the force of that bullet knock you in any particular direction?
It knocked me backwards.
Do you recall what happened with your firearm?
I got moved. It was
Well,
on.
before we, I'm sorry,
Okay.
a better question. I'll ask you a better question.
Okay.
Right at that point, as you're shot and you're flying back or falling back, or whatever you want to call it, can you remember what happened with your firearm?
It fell out of my hands. It was to my head and it fell out of my hand. and I fell on the ground, and the firearm fell on the ground.
Couple of questions before we move on. At any point when you were doing that, when you had the firearm up to your head, was Noonan present during the time you raised the firearm to your head?
Like when I motioned up to my head with it,
Correct.
no, he was not in the room. Nobody was in the room.
Okay. When Noonan came into your view, where was the gun pointed?
The gun was pointed at my temple.
At any point, did you move the muzzle of that gun
No,
towards Noonan?
no, never.
Did you move it anywhere?
No, never.
Did you ever intend to harm Noonan?
Never.
What did you know about Noonan's kind of personal circumstances in your time getting to know him?
He was like, so he was a cop for a long time, and I was considered like a rookie. And like after I had like a few really bad calls in a row, and everybody kind of knew it, and the senior guys would like check in on me and give me advice, and he was one of those people, and he told me his own personal experience with like calls and how to handle them when they're bad.
So, what was his family situation?
I've met his wife. I knew he had a son just by like talking.
Did you want to involve him in your tragedy?
I didn't want to involve anybody. I wanted to take my own life. I never pointed the gun at a fellow police officer. It never happened.
When you went onto the ground, what did Noonan do after he shot you?
I thought he walked away, and Lieutenant Daly came over to me, and then I think Noonan walked back over to me, and like I couldn't say anything really, but I couldn't breathe, and I think I was just like, why did you do that? Like it hurts, and then I just wasn't able.
Say that?
I said why, like why, and he was holding my hand. Officer Noonan was holding my hand, and I said why. I was so confused. Why?
Where was Daly?
Daly was there.
What was he doing?
He was on the radio. I don't know what he said exactly on the radio. I'm assuming like. So
you get shot, and you get shot in the chest, right?
Yeah.
Lower chest. What after being shot? How did that affect your ability? I sound like a lawyer, but how did that affect your ability to perceive things, recollect things?
I went into like a huge adrenaline shock. It didn't feel like normal pain. It almost felt like absent pain, but it felt like my entire body was burning, and I was completely alert, completely awake the whole time. I was speaking as much as I could. My lung was punctured, so that's why I was having trouble breathing. But other than that, I was very alert and aware of my surroundings.
Where were you laying in the room?
I was laying between my bed and the wall where the air conditioner is.
Were your legs parallel to the foot of the bed or somewhere else?
I think so. Yeah, I think that they were.
Were you bleeding?
Yes.
Is that the way you wanted this to happen?
No.
What do you remember next?
The fire department got there fast. It felt really fast. They put me in like a bag,
Like a sack?
and like they were all tall guys, and I knew that my ceiling, you would bump your head if you're over like 5'10". So when they were carrying me down, I said, "Watch your heads." And they brought me outside, and I think when I was still in my house, one of the firefighters was trying to put oxygen on my face, and I was taking it off and just saying, I want to die, I want to die, I want to die.
Did you make any apologies at any point?
I think I said, "I'm sorry, I tried to kill myself, I want to die." Like, I just didn't understand what just, like, I don't know what just happened. I tried to shoot myself, and then I got shot in the chest. Like, nothing really made, like, I was just in total disbelief and shock.
Did you, at any point before you got taken out of there, did you hear Noonan saying anything about what happened?
No.
Did you see Houston yet?
Houston, yes, he came in, and I think he put like medical like gauze on the wound. Somebody did. He had the medical bag. I remember that.
Were you able to sort of perceive the first aid techniques they were administering to you?
No, I wasn't paying attention to it. I was like trying to focus on breathing because it felt like I was choking. Like, it felt like I was drowning.
So they bring you downstairs, and at what point in the trip downstairs and out of the house were you trying to take off the mask?
I think the whole time. And when I was in the ambulance, I said to everybody, "I'm a fucking idiot. I just tried to kill myself with an unloaded gun. I'm a fucking idiot."
And then
I
what
said that to everybody. I said that to the hospital staff. I said that to all the firefighters. I probably said that when I was laying on the ground. Those were the words I just kept repeating.
What were they doing to you in the ambulance before the ambulance departed in terms of working on you?
They were working on getting a med flight. I had to get a blood transfusion. I finally agreed to keep the oxygen mask on my face, and they were doing my vitals and just trying to keep me stable before I was going to be transported to the hospital.
What hospital did you go to?
I was flown by med flight to Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston.
So by helicopter?
Yes.
And then when you were in the helicopter, was there anybody that you knew in the helicopter?
No, when I was in the ambulance, I was holding on to firefighter Smirtelny's hand.
And can you spell that for the court? It's a funny spelling. Why don't you spell that, if you can?
His first name's Kevin.
And it says, let me take a crack at that. Is it Smiertelny?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay. And did he go in the helicopter?
No, he was holding my hand the whole time I was in the ambulance and comforting me, and I asked if he could go in the helicopter. I didn't want to let go of his hand. I asked, "Can you come in the helicopter with me?" And he said, I can't, no one can.
Okay. So you get in the helicopter, you're getting transported to Mass General, is it?
Yes.
Now, was there another problem with the oxygen in the helicopter?
It either like ran out or it shut off, and when you're in a med flight, you're laying down and there's a person flying the helicopter next to you, and I just like tapped him and like gestured. It felt like I was drowning again. felt like I was choking on, I couldn't get a breath. So I just like told him, like, I couldn't talk, but I gestured like to the oxygen that was above me. It wasn't working, and I think they had switched the tank or something, or turned it back on. Something happened, but my oxygen got shut off in the helicopter, and they had to fix it.
Was that indicative of maybe some kind of a change of heart about whether you wanted to die?
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to say in those exact moments because it took a lot of healing from the moment I decided to make a suicide attempt to now to be healed mentally. So I don't know what my exact thoughts were in that moment, but I know when I got to the hospital, I said, I'm a fucking idiot. I tried to kill myself with an unloaded gun. How could I be so stupid?
What was the length of time that you were at Mass General?
Like the length from when I was admitted to discharge, it was 53 days.
And how many operations have you had?
I've had 5.
And what were the kind of the main issues that the...
Objection to the relevance.
Relevance?
Just the circumstances, Your Honor, of what happened to her.
Sustained.
May I have a moment, please, Your Honor?
Yes. Take your time.
Nothing further.
All right, so Cross, I need to, let's take a 10-minute break, please.
All right. We'll stand in a 10-minute recess. Once again, please exit quietly.
Breathing hard.
Yes.
You know as your time as a police officer that domestic calls are the most dangerous. True?
Yeah, that could be true.
It could be, well, they're the most dangerous, right? That's where,
I go into every call thinking it could be dangerous, but I guess domestics are. If that's a fact, then yeah, sure.
okay.
Can you just keep your voice up?
Yes,
Thanks.
sorry.
That's okay.
Sure, well, okay, we'll step back and we'll go with your point. Every call is dangerous, right?
It could be.
Sure, well, you have to treat it that way, right?
Yes.
Because you don't know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
Domestic calls, like we just talked about, can be especially dangerous because you're dealing with people who are sometimes highly emotional.
Right.
Okay.
That's why you always separate when you get to a scene.
And we'll get to that, okay? And I agree with you, that you need to keep people apart.
Right.
But you also need to...
Excuse me one moment. Yeah, and you're going to need to ask closer.
I don't know if I can typically do that.
Thank you.
When you walk into a domestic situation, whether it's a restraining order that you're serving, whether it's a call for some sort of domestic violence, right? You walk in there with a heightened sense of awareness. Is that fair to say?
As a police officer, you always have a higher sense of awareness.
Okay. But domestics are kind of a different animal, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
And because emotions are involved. True?
Yes.
And sometimes the opposite of love isn't hate, it's anger, and things can go in 9 different directions in a minute. Is that fair to say?
Sure.
When you're dealing with someone who you know has a mental health past, it can be even more volatile, correct?
Volatile.
Yes.
I wouldn't use that word as it pertains to mental health, sir, respectfully.
There is as a police officer, there is a heightened sense of awareness, right? You're taking all the information in.
In every call, yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, domestic violence call in particular. You don't agree with me there?
No, I do. I agree with you on every call. A heightened sense of awareness is key to being a police officer. So domestic, car accident, anything. We go to work in a bulletproof vest.
Exactly, that's my point.
Yeah, we
And
have
so,
to.
when you go to a domestic call, we talked, or you talked, you try to separate people, right?
Yes.
Because if they come together or you can see each other sometimes, bad things can happen. Right?
Yes.
And so when you walk into a domestic violence situation, or any situation, right? Your first order of business is to keep everybody safe. Fair to say?
Yes.
The people who called, right?
Yes.
Yourself.
Yes.
If you have a partner, your partner.
Yep, the other officers, yeah.
If there are family members there, you want to keep them safe. True?
Yes, police officer, your job is to keep everyone, including yourself, safe.
If there are children, you want to keep them safe.
Everybody.
Okay. So, and if you think there are guns in the house, that is a particularly serious concern for you also, right?
Yes.
For your safety,
Yes.
for your partner's safety,
Yes.
for the children's safety, for everybody, right?
For everybody.
And you know that, correct?
I know that.
And so you know when you walk into a scene, when you think there may be some mental health issues, that there may be some weapons, that you don't take your eyes off anybody, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You don't let someone walk into a room by themselves,
You
right?
shouldn't know.
You should have, I think with Officer Houston, you should be in their pocket, right?
I'm not familiar with that phrase. Did he say that?
He did.
Okay.
Well, if you're not familiar, you should be right near them, right?
Yes.
Because at any point, someone can grab a weapon, true,
True.
use a weapon,
True.
and especially when there's a heightened sense of volatility on some of these calls, right?
Yes.
And you know that as a police officer, correct? And
Yes.
that's just kind of common sense, anyway, right?
Yes.
And you've been trained on that.
Yes.
And so you don't take your eyes off any of the partners, true?
True.
You don't leave them alone.
True.
That's what you're trained to do, that's what you're supposed to do, and that's pretty much common sense of what you do.
That's what you're supposed to do, yes.
Right, okay. We agree on that.
We do.
Now, if there is you are a police officer, so you know other divisions of the forces, correct? Like SWAT. You understand what SWAT is, right?
I was a very new police officer. I was only on for about 2 years. I'm not familiar with SWAT. I know it a little bit.
Okay, so we'll talk about what you know.
Okay.
SWAT is like a special weapons tactical team. You know that, right?
I know that. I don't know exactly what their job functions are or what they
But you
do.
do understand that they respond to highly volatile situations that are dangerous. True?
Yes.
Okay. If there is a weapon involved, somebody's barricaded, there's an active shooter, they respond.
Yeah,
correct?
they go to everything that's bad.
Okay. Because they're highly trained to deal with those situations. True?
True.
Okay. They're the ones who see guns all the time, see violence all the time, and have to react to a weapon. True?
True.
Okay. Because not every call involves a weapon. Some of them are, like you said, car accidents. True?
Every call is very different.
Yeah. And so, but those guys are trained and picked because they deal with that stuff well. True?
I don't know how they're picked or trained. I know nothing about their training. or the process of becoming on SWAT.
Okay, but you know to call them if something happens. like that, right?
That wouldn't be my job, but my supervisors, but yes, we can agree to that, yes.
Okay.
They get called to bad things, I know this.
They get called to bad things and have to deal with bad things. right?
Yes,
And you know that as a police officer, you need to qualify and get trained in order to do certain things. If you're on, like a domestic violence officer may have to be trained in domestic violence to be in a unit like that. True?
yeah, I mean, we didn't have that on my department, but I have heard of that on other departments, like a domestic violence detective would probably be trained more in that sense.
Right, so there's sometimes specialties
Yes,
that people focus on, that
Yeah.
people are prepared to deal with better than other people. True?
yes,
Officer Noonan was on the SWAT team, you know that, right? You know that.
I know that now.
Okay. You knew he started in Andover, that's where he began his career.
I knew he started in North Andover.
Sorry, North Andover. And then he went to Lawrence.
Yes,
And Lawrence is really a different atmosphere than North Andover. You agree with me there?
yes.
North Andover,
North Andover does get the flood in of Lawrence.
sure, there's some crossover,
Yes.
right? But you know what that crossover is.
Yes.
True?
True.
It's, and not to disparage any community, right? But Lawrence has more guns than North Andover.
I think so. I don't know off personal knowledge, but I would assume.
Okay. They have more gangs.
Yes, that I do know, yes.
They have more drugs.
Yes,
They have more violence.
yes,
They have more need for people who can deal with that stuff, correct?
yes.
Okay. And you know that Officer Noonan worked in Lawrence for years.
I did know that, yes.
Okay, you did know that, right?
Yeah, I did.
And then he came back. Did you say you were on the job or not on the job when he came back?
I was already on the job when he came back.
Okay. And you know he came back from Lawrence, right? And when he came back from Lawrence, it was really, he was the most experienced person on the force at this point, right? From what he had been through?
I didn't know his experiences.
Okay, you knew that he was...
I honestly thought, I looked at my lieutenants as that
Well,
for me.
Officer Noonan, back when you were on the job, you looked up to him.
Yeah, I looked up to all the senior officers that were willing to train me or give me any type of advice.
Well, we're talking about Officer Noonan.
He did that.
Okay.
So yes.
Yeah, you looked up to him. You knew he was experienced. Correct.
Yes.
You knew he was a by-the-book kind of guy, that he was going to teach you well.
Yes.
You went to him for that.
I went to him for advice.
Right. And you went to him for advice because you thought he knew what he was doing, right? He'd been through the ringers, and that's why you went to him, right?
No, he told me, he reached out to me and told me that, he's been on bad calls before and this is how he handles it.
Right.
And
you appreciated that.
I did.
Okay. And it seemed like that was true with the advice he was giving you.
Yes, yes,
A gentleman about it. Right?
yes.
Okay. Justin's a different story in your life, correct? Justin, on June 30th, you had said that what was happening was a surprise. I don't know if you used those words, but the demeanor you gave off was this came out of the blue, right?
I was very confused.
You were confused, but stuff, and we're not going to get into it, but stuff that happened that weekend before, that Saturday night, that would have given you some inkling that something was wrong, right?
I was aware me and Justin were in an argument. I was aware the second I woke up in the morning, that's why we were planning to meet.
So it wasn't a surprise that there was some strife between you and him at that point.
No, I knew that. I'm saying I was more surprised about being ditched at the common and the police involvement. Those were
Well, the police had come to your house on that Sunday to check in on you, correct?
I got accused of,
I'm not asking what you were accused of.
they came to see if I was okay. They thought I was in a car accident. I was never in a car accident.
Okay. But they came to you because they're concerned of you, right?
They thought I was in a car accident.
Okay. And on the Monday,
Somebody told them that.
well, okay, we'll get back to that. in a
Okay.
while, Okay. On the Monday, you were surprised by this order, correct?
Yes, I was surprised by the order.
And you say that you have no idea why this is happening.
Right.
You eventually think that you're, well, you know Caden's going to be taken away from you for a short period of time, right?
You say short, and that's fine. But he was 4 months old, and it was 14 days. That's an eternity for me.
I grant you that.
Okay.
I grant you that.
Thank you.
That is a significant amount of time for any parent. Sure.
Yeah,
Okay?
sure.
So I'm sure that was devastating to you, right?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
And it was Justin who was doing that to you, right? It wasn't the police.
No,
Right.
right.
It was Justin who went to court, who said, I should have custody of that child, correct?
Correct.
And so that's who is doing these things to you, right?
Yes.
So that's who your anger was focused on, right?
I mean, I don't even know if I got to the point of grieving, of anger yet. I don't think I was there yet. But if any of my emotions were directed towards somebody, it would be Justin.
Sure.
Yes,
Because you felt betrayed.
I did.
And you knew he was going to get taken.
I knew that I had to give Caden to the police, for the police to give Caden to
Okay, well,
Justin.
you know the police don't take custody of children, right?
I don't know that.
Well, as your time as a police officer, have you ever actually taken custody of a child and left?
I have.
So you're telling this court, you're telling the judge, that if there is not a family member to take a child because something happens, that you actually take the child and leave? You don't call DCF?
Well, you always file a 51A after
Sure.
fact.
And then they come to the home and they take it, right?
So I guess the call I went on was different. I did end up taking the juvenile in my police car. I drove her to the police station where she met with family members.
Okay, so how old was this person?
She was maybe 12.
Okay, well, we're talking about infants, right? You wouldn't transport an infant.
No, I guess.
So,
Counsel's testifying about facts that are not evidence and not proven. They're sort of being suggested as if they're gospel, which might mislead the witness.
Okay. So overruled, but Mr. Gubitosi, can you just allow Ms. Fitzsimmons to complete her answer? And like all witnesses, I don't want you folks speaking over one another.
of course.
Thank you.
So you
Good
agree
luck
with
for
me
him.
that DCF would typically come and get an infant, right?
Yes, I've never personally had a call with.
Well, okay, let's just talk about your career. You said you...
I think so. I can't tell you for sure.
Well, let's just talk about your career. When did you graduate the academy? May of 2024?
Yes.
Okay, and you went out on leave on when?
I went light duty while I was pregnant. I was about 20 weeks pregnant when the duty belt didn't clip anymore.
Okay, so, but you went out on February 16th. That was Katie's birthday, right? That's your official leave?
Yeah, that's my official leave.
Okay, so 20 weeks, and he was, so you do the math. How many months were you actually on the road?
Okay, let's see. So like 7 months, and then I was like duty. So I graduated the police academy in May of 2024, and I went out on maternity leave February 16th of 2025.
So you were actually just on the road for 7 months?
Light duty, you're not on the road because, I mean, you're pregnant.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. And that was your choice to stay in the station and work that way, right?
Yes.
Okay. But you were actually on the road, going to calls, doing the dirty work as a police officer.
I'm so happy for Maureen. That's the bottom line. That it's over for Maureen. Hopefully these idiots don't give her any crap from the other side. Or even supposedly Kelsey's side. Some real Lulus out there.
Just for 7 months, right?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to jump back to June 30th at the house after the police come, right? You called your mom. You asked to do that, and they let you do that, right? There was no prohibition.
You're talking about after the police?
Yes, after the police arrived.
Yes, I called my mom.
Okay. And she came.
Yes.
Okay. She came. Now, you called her your best friend, right?
My mom is.
Your best friend, right? And so you could have talked to her, correct?
Yes.
When Justin arrived, you knew he came in the house, right? You heard him.
No.
You didn't hear him come in the house?
No.
You knew he was coming to get the baby.
I never expected a police officer to allow the victim or plaintiff in a case to enter the home where the defendant is. That.
Well, you knew he was getting a child, correct?
Yeah, but I thought that I passed Caden off to walk outside. I never thought, I never knew Justin was in my home.
You knew he was coming to the house?
I thought they would do it at the school, but yes, I mean, I knew he was going to be in the vicinity. I never expected or knew he walked through my front door.
When you went upstairs, and we'll talk about that green chest you called it, correct?
Yes.
Was it locked?
No.
Okay, you just flip it over.
Yes.
When you claimed you pulled the trigger, it flipped.
It did.
It was not around in the chain.
Correct.
There was a full magazine in it, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, you used that gun to go shooting on Friday, true?
That's true. That's why I didn't chamber around, thank God.
And when you're doing shooting, were you qualifying? What were you doing on that Friday?
We have a qualification, yeah.
Okay, so you had to do that, right?
Yeah,
And
because
when you're shooting for qualifying, when you're at the range, how do you hold your pistol?
2 hands, and then there's some where they say use your strong hand or your left hand, you're not strong.
But your typical reflex is 2 hands, true?
Yeah, that's
2 hands extended.
most of the range day, yeah.
Right, that's your training. That's the safest way to shoot a gun, true? So that's your default?
That's what we do at the range for those 8 hours, other than the one part where you shoot with your strong and non-strong hands.
So on Friday, you spent hours shooting with 2 hands?
Yes. Yeah, it was Friday, yes.
Well, I'm asking you.
I think so.
Now, you stated that after the police came and you were starting to process things, true?
Yes.
And it took a bit for you to process things. You felt your life unraveling, true?
Yeah, as I was packing things, it just started to hit me like this is going, this is going, this is going. Just as I was walking around the house, I just was like,
All those things going, and it's all because of what Justin did.
yes.
Thank you. I don't have another question.
Redirect.
No redirect, Your Honor, thank you.
That's it.
All right, you may step down. Thank
I
you.
love watching her. Watch her walk up the stand.
The defense, you can call your next witness.
Boom. It's all over, Kelsey.
Okay. Aside from what?
The view.
Okay. All right, so can I see counsel at sidebar along with Ms. Fitzsimmons?
Oh, damn. That was something today. I said I was done. I was headed out. My camera's down again, but I'm not dead. I'm not done. We're going to send everyone to Runkle. We're going to do a Jerks raid over at Runkle. And maybe if JFK is live tonight, I'd like to see some JFK tonight. I'm in the mood. God damn. Sorry, I'm shouting, but I think Bradle's done a pretty damn good job. I think he got some criticism, but I think he's done all right. I think he took it to him enough. Yeah. See some Bradle love in the chat. Oh, look at who. Just Larry. I know this guy, Larry. Weren't you a former city councilor somewhere or something? You're a political guy. He says, Mike for mayor of Holden. I don't live in Holden. I don't even think I've ever been in Holden. Unless I got lost going to the Worcester Centrum. I don't know. Bro, all love for Mike. Even when I'm trying not to do the drama, Larry. That's funny. Thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciate Larry. I like Larry. Larry's something. He's a good dude. Ah, legislator. You were a legislator. Your dad was a city council. That's right. So you were a state rep, I'm guessing, or maybe a senator. Could be either or. But you were a legislator. Wow. That's a real politician. All right, so enough about us and the politics. We could be here all night. I'm done. I'm toast. My camera doesn't work. We've been live basically since 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Let's go hang out and just relax with Runkle. I'm gonna go get baked and watch Runkle. And I'll be here at 9 a.m. if not earlier for Kelsey Fitzsimmons. Tomorrow's the day. We find out what happens tomorrow. 2 p.m. is going to be the judge giving us, hopefully, his verdict. And 9 a.m. for the closing statements. And 5:30 p.m. we'll be live with Attorney Nan Gallagher. Another busy day tomorrow for us. Young Jerks. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. See you over at the Runkle chat. Peace out. Thank you to my mods.